times. Heyo Friendos, it's a me, Berry Goldheart, in a brand new outfit. Wow! I'm here with my good friendo, FallenFromGlory, to discuss Parahumans, aka Worm, the digital series. Wahoo! Yay!
Well, I missed whatever that was, but yeah, couldn't agree more.
Go, friendo, go!
I'm just some dude.
Yeah. Yes,
Just
some
random
dude
guy.
who I am talking with about the I want to say digital series, digital web series, something like that.
Yeah,
Parahumans,
yeah, it's
which is also known
yeah,
as
there's like
Worm. I think it started as Worm.
yeah, the official genre is web serial. Um, and
Ooh,
it
web
is
serial. Yay.
yeah, the story is Worm, but it's part of the Parahumans series because there was a sequel.
Oh wow, that's gonna be fun. I'm having fun. I haven't got very far. I'm already having a blast. Will, I think once you get past the like first 2 or 3 setup pages and stuff, you're like, oh, this go fast now. Zoom.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you thought it is moving fast already, because the general consensus I've heard is that it's kind of slow for the first couple of full arcs. Um, which I didn't
Okay,
really think that
so
necessarily. I mean,
before I
but
started reading Warhammer books, um, I was very used to a lot slower starts to things. And I mean a lot slower. And when I get to like Warhammer books and stuff there, then it starts to pick up. But I'm used to like, we're talking like 30 to 60 pages before stuff starts to get going. And then Warhammer books, it's like, 5. And this is right around that mark of like, 4 or 5 pages.
yeah, like it's not quite in media res, but it's like close. Um, there is still a little bit of run up.
But yeah, really, as close as they could
But yeah,
manage, I
like
think. And it's fun.
yeah. Like yeah, I mean, I've read a whole lot of like fantasy and some sci-fi and stuff like that, and yeah, like I think that's probably why I was like, y'all thought that was a slow start, you know what I mean? Like the people who read it are more used to like
Yeah,
comic books,
right?
right,
'Cause, like,
where it's all action.
I mean, like modern comic books too, not like the old Conan's first run of comic books, where it's like almost like a novelette. There's a lot of reading there and stuff, but yeah, shit's just going all the time. It's kind of like yeah, like old novels. Especially, no, it's not quite.
Hmm.
How do I say it? It's super fast for anything that's remotely close to a novel. It's like a Pulp Fiction kind of fast.
Yeah. I think that is has a lot to do with the genre because like with the web serial, right, you have to get people's attention like immediately, and then you have to keep their attention. You'll kind of notice reading through that there are some like mini cliffhangers that get resolved surprisingly quickly, and that has a lot to do with the fact that the author was basically posting a new um part in each arc twice a week, every single week without fail. And he had
Ooh,
to
twice a
have
week.
people
Wow.
coming
Yeah.
back. Oh yeah, it's a frankly impressive rate of work.
Now, I had unrealistic goals like that. Yeah, that is. I had unrealistic goals of myself starting off on Royal Road and could not maintain those at all. So that's really impressively managed that. Good job. I have clapped,
Yeah,
and I have no idea
at
if the
some
machine
point
registered. I don't know it's registered in my hand, so I know. Let's go.
yeah, no, he managed to accumulate a rather impressive following even while posting. all those years ago. Uh, so he had a bit of momentum. I think
Yes.
he did take a couple of breaks, if I remember correctly, uh, for like medical reasons or family related reasons or something. I'm not sure. Uh, I don't want to speak on behalf of someone
Yeah.
else, but I think there that if there was a break taken, it was for because he was unavailable entirely. So
Legitimate reasons. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. That's cool. All
No
right. So
lazy days.
I guess I should do a quick summary of what this what this thing is. So uh Parahumans is a setting, I guess, slash series that deals with a super powered Earth. It's got superheroes, it's got super villains, all that cool jazz. And like it's also got a, how do I say it? Instead of like they happen because of all these sorts of crazy different reasons, there's like some sort of universal constant like reason of that. I don't know the whys yet, but it's usually built that way, kind of like how My Hero Academia has theirs set in such a fashion. Squish. But yeah, we follow a character, Taylor, who is interesting and stuff, and she has a superpower, and this is her trying to be a superhero, and then how all of that goes to Wackadoodleville. I don't know all the specifics yet. I'm just starting out, but I'm having fun. Woo!
And I'm very excited
Wish.
because
Oh,
Wackadoodleville
yes.
is
So,
one way of
my
putting
good.
it.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
No, that's all.
So you get
No spoilers.
yeah. All right. So my good friend here has had a lot of people read this series. It's gotten them involved in it to check it out, and always been like, "Hey, you got to tell me what you think after every little chapter thing and whatnot." I'm super excited to hear what you think and stuff. And no one's really taken the time to, after each little chapter, like read the small little bit, convene with them and talk about it. And so if I decided, you know what? I'm just going to do that entirely that way. I'm going to read every little chapter thing and then, bam, meet up and talk about it. Yeah. Squish.
Well,
So
you are my hero.
we've had a mini meeting. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. You're mine too, because I needed something to get me going and creative again. This is a good start. I'm writing again. Woo. Anyways, meow. We had a mini one of these where in person we talked about just the first 2 pages, and that set it up for like, yeah, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have some real good discussion here. So let's get into
Yeah,
some
we.
funky fresh things. So after reading the first, oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah. We did manage to have a like 45-minute discussion, basically about 2 pages. So we were like, yeah, I think we could definitely uh
Yes. Yes, indeed.
talk for enough.
Yeah. I definitely want to get a different like background picture whatnot from this later, but whatever. This is fun. We're doing this. Anyways, so let's kind of go over some of the things we talked about. I think the first thing I want to do is discuss some of the writing style and similarity things that I noticed. So, let's see here. When it comes to how it's written, it's mostly from our character we're following's perspective, and that's primarily Taylor. We have these little things called interludes that give us peer in moments into other people's like minds and opinions and views of what's going on, and that's pretty interesting. They're not like earlier in time or anything. From when I've seen this to be happening like in that moment that's there, so that's pretty cool.
Mostly.
There might be a little bit overlap with time, but nothing too egregious. So it's pretty cool. The other thing I want to mention is when we're following Taylor, most of the things are presented from her view and purview on the world and what she thinks about it, even if it's just a general fact being stated by the narrator. It's like tinged with her perspective on it. There's only a few
Yeah,
minor cases where it's like truly just a full meta note, but not many.
yeah, and you can consider basically anything that is said in the text to be like Taylor's thoughts or her thought or her thought process, whether that's her active thoughts or her passive background subconscious or her inner voice. She is, for all intents and purposes, the narrator, for better and worse.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Okay, I say it's really interesting because since I've been reading other things that have this sort of pacing, a lot of like Pulp Fiction, a lot of Warhammer books, a lot of the old like D&D Faerun books and stuff. They have this fully not the character narrator, and then you see specific character thoughts and whatnot, which is really different for the pacing and stuff. But I don't know if web serials, for example, have this sort of pacing and thought process thing, if it's normal or not. But it's just a little interesting to note that, in my opinion. What this is about, Dane Nabbit. Okay, so that's cool. I mentioned the writing style stuff, how it is, how it feels. That you can just read a page and then go and start psychoanalyzing what you just read without you have to focus on the specifically, this is a character thought or this is what was said. Just the narrator enough is enough for you to psychoanalyze. Like, this is the shit that's important to this character. This is what's not. Like, there's a great moment where by the way, I'm going to say this right out the gate. Spoilers AF, my goons. Like, let's go read this. Read chapter 1. Go do it. And then come back here. It's not long at all.
Yeah,
Trust me, it's worth it.
Yeah, we'll be talking about each chapter in full in each episode, but I will not be talking about anything that happens in the future. I might try to subtly allude to things, but I will not directly spoil anything that happens past the point where we're at.
Yeah.
So.
Heck yeah. Whoa. Clamps. Yeah, that's falling from glory for you, not falling from glory. Yeah. Anyways. So.
Yeah, it happened in the past.
How should I say? Yeah. Not again. So let's see here. When it comes to Taylor, let's talk about her as a character first, with what I've seen in my sort of interpretations of what's going on there. And again, my good friend Fallen here might remind me of things I said on our last little thing, because we did have a little mini discussion. I say mini, it was 45 minutes, but mini. So.
Mini for us.
I'm going to start with a point. Yeah, mini for us. With a point that I didn't get to until later in our discussion. I'm going to start there, which was the way that Taylor is written, the kind of character she is one who doesn't usually get written well in any frickin' media you read. Normally, the writers who write this character are what's character type are terrible writer. I'm just going to say it like that. Like, they don't know how to write, and they use this kind of character as sort of like an excuse for that, and, a buffer zone so they don't get, like, mocked for their bad writing. The perfect example of that would be the main character of the Twilight books. Same kind of character, like they fit the tropes, the way they act and stuff, but written terribly by someone who doesn't know how to do them. And, it basically became a filler for the viewer in that part, which is, anyways, it was still bad at that. It's a terrible book series, but worth analyzing if you want to, understand some crazy stuff. Anyways, back to this book. So Taylor is like that kind of character, whatever it's called, whatever the tropes are. I don't give a shit about tropes. I don't. I never have. I never will. For me, they're just little demon pogs that people use who don't know how to write or read or have no literacy. But hey, they help you, cool. So anyways, but she's that done right. She's a very interesting character. If you like the idea of that sort of character type but want to see them done well by someone who knows what they're doing, yeah, definitely read this. Do it. So, yeah, if you've read Twilight or at least watched the fucking movies and stuff, you'll and read through this, you'll get a semblance of what I'm talking about. Go, yeah, this is what it would be like if that writer knew how to write. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah. If you want the
so
experience of reading
Taylor
something and
is
screaming at your screen,
interested. Yes. If you want that, go read Twilight or God, there's this other book that I can think of. I can't remember his name right now, but every other VTuber I've talked to and VTuber manager has said sent me to go, you should just read this book and do your most monotone voice while doing it. It's the worst thing ever. It makes Twilight look good. And I watched a little bit of some of them talking about it or reading it. I'm like, damn, they're right. I don't think I ever will, though, because no, I want my brain cell. I want to stay intact. Thank you.
but yeah, like I feel like so the main character of Twilight, which I haven't read, and I did watch one of the movies once for Bad Movie Night. I think it was like the third one. I don't know. It's definitely not the first one. And the sense that I got is probably the sense that I got was that the idea is that the main character, is supposed to be kind of undecided and on the fence about a lot of things and unsure. But yeah.
Anyways.
If you read
Twilight, yes, exactly.
Right, this character is an exercise in frustration. As you're reading Worm, it's fascinating, is what it is, in my opinion.
Yes, it really is. I'm having a good time. I really am, and this. Well, that means something. So, in this work, when we're reading through Taylor, there's a lot that can be said. She has. My interpretation of what I'm seeing with this character is what I'm reading is a psychopath who's masking hard and has no idea what that means, what that is, anything about it, doesn't even know that they're psychotic, okay? But I mean this like a medical, real-world psychopath, not like some movie killer, which is a very different thing. Since most psychopaths in the real world wind up getting used and abused. So, woo, big difference. Anyways, squish. So yeah, it's a very interesting thing. She's got obvious psychopathy and is trying to mask it and trying to act like normal, but doesn't know that they're not such, which is really interesting. Even though they'll say things like, "Me, freak," whatever. Anyways. So with Taylor, we get an examination of her through her. Man, I am so meow and tired. I can't think straight, but I'm trying. So with Taylor, we get some really good examples of her thought process that show up in the first few. So when she goes to the bathroom, I think is the pivotal one for me of seeing what she thinks about on a day-to-day. So let's just go through some stuff. So Taylor experiencing the day. She's going through like the teacher as he's teaching and, detailing him out for us, the reader. And she sort of describes him as this charismatic person that like all the students like, whatever and stuff. And she just does not have a care for one way or another, really. He's is too chummy or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Everyone seems to love him, whatever. But like all she's talking about is how he sort of relates to general distaste, how he sort of relates to her and the general populace of the school. And she does have in her brain a distinction between those two things, which, yeah, it's important to note. So when she starts detailing about the students, though, she spends an equal measure of time working their appearance and their relationships. Let's say it that way. She doesn't put like stock in things like their wealth or anything like that, but rather how they interact with other normal people, how those relationships are, and how that relates to theirs with hers, if it does in any way, shape, or form. And the general consensus is that most people are, freaking douchebags, basically, who want to torture or demean her for their own benefit, which, that seems
I
true
think,
enough. But you have them, the high school, my
I
guys. Yeah.
with the way you described the way Telly describes things, would you say that it's accurate that when she's analyzing a person, she first describes their mask and then describes their connections?
What was the first word you said?
Um, the
Their
first
what,
thing
and then their
would you
connections?
say that their masks?
Yes, like what they wear out in
That
the
they
world for others to see. Yes. That, and
yeah.
then the relationships, how that affects things, and that leads to how she believes their true inner self is. Yes. Yeah. Because, like,
Okay,
their
I think
equipment and appearance is sort of used instead of, like, just stating that, like, their eyes in intricate, specific detail. She'll, moreover, talk about, if she talks about their eyes, to also mention how they're used, by them for whatever sort of purpose and stuff. She sees people in every piece of them, whether it's height or clothing or a specific body part, for what it's used for and how that interacts with others. For example, when she's describing the height of, I can't remember her name, the little one. I'm too
Madison.
tired. But the shorter one, she describes how you would expect her to be using her like sexy looks and stuff to get people to like her and whatnot due to everything else about her. But because of this and a few other facets, how she's dolled herself up for the cute effect and is utilizing that to get what she wants and bring people in. So we don't just get like, they're, 4'11" or whatever. We get short and wide and how it's used, you know. Yeah, that's really interesting. But it is kind of annoying for someone who wants to know, like, what color it is the bathroom stall. I don't get to know because Taylor does not care.
She's not gonna fuck. At all.
She did not give a frickin' snip of meow about the color of the stall. What are you kidding? No, no. The things that matter color wise are the colors of the sodas that fall down onto her and her stuff and affect those. That's it. If it's not actively affecting something or causing a relationship, she does not care. Yeah.
Hmm.
Which that is
It's like any
that
she
is a
doesn't.
very important thing to note there. Because
Yeah, she never describes anything for the
yeah, yeah.
sake of describing it. She only describes things if they are relevant.
Exactly. And relevant from what she thinks is relevant, and from
Yeah.
her perspective on it. Because there are things that are really relevant that she's not taking in at all. She just does not acknowledge it whatsoever or have
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
thought
You
capacity
can say
to
that.
understand why they're important or why they matter. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna
That
just
happens.
skip a little bit ahead here, but like with the encounter where bitch shows up, and by the way, I love her. She's my fave so far, and she has not said a single word.
That's really
I love
funny.
her.
Um. Yeah. If she's your favorite now, then by the end, she will still be your favorite. Just a lot more.
Oh yeah, I'm picking her. She's great. So during that scene, because I actually read that one multiple times, the little fight part and the encounter with Bitch and everything, to verify some of my thoughts on there. And in that scene and everything, Bitch lets Taylor be interacted with by the rest of the party. And Taylor, from her perspective and stuff, is focused on how the people she's talking to directly affect her and what's important there. She only acknowledges that Bitch is doing stuff because Bitch is an unknown who is also there and is powerful, like her and her dogs could do something that would affect her, but as far as she's concerned, after their initial show up, it no longer affects her, even though everything Bitch is doing, what she's watching, whether she's sending the dogs to do something or not, is all dramatically affecting whether or not Taylor and these dumbasses stay alive. You know? But it's not relevant to her at the time, because the threat's away, and she's dealing with an immediate new threat, which is the people there. So, for me, that's a really great moment of seeing how her analyzation stuff is tweaked and altered by her perception of what matters versus what actually matters in the situation. Because nothing matters more there than whether or not Lung is gonna get up and kill all y'all. That's the only thing that matters on what's going on, and Taylor does not give a fuck once it's someone else's problem.
Yeah. So real quick, I
At all.
we should probably talk about this real quick. The structure of these
Yeah. There's a lot to talk about. I just do skip.
Yeah, I'm just, I mean, I just want to say, so the assumption is that anyone who's listening will have read already, right? So we're not going to go through step by step and be like, here's what happened.
Yes, please.
Right. We're just going to assume that you read it and know what we're talking about. Otherwise, you'll be very confused.
And if you haven't, these are going to be very wild for you, and I really hope you start reading it, and one of them gets you to go check it out, because you should. You should have. Read it with me, dang it.
Yes,
I got our update and use it as an excuse to go read the next chapter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just noted that we're talking about, like, classroom stuff, teacher, bathrooms, these characters in the school, and then you're like, yeah, and then then Bitch shows up and she's got these monster dogs, and like she's concerned about Long getting up and burning them all to death, right? Because that happens, and this is all arc one.
Yeah, like, she shouldn't be concerned about it.
There's a lot going on.
What?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's all in arc one. There's a lot that happens here, and we are going to skip around when it comes to anything that feels relevant to what we're talking about. Like, we are talking about Taylor's mind and purview right now and setting up a base of how she thinks. So, yeah, that particular scene was very important for that. And for why some people might not like Bitch when they meet her. Because Taylor does not care about Bitch. So, from what you said, most people do not like or care for a minute when they meet her. But me, I'm like, oh, I love her. She's my fave.
Yeah.
That, I do like Hounders. That's just the thing with me. Like, they're really interesting, especially when they're done right. And so far, she's been done incredibly well. Actually, there's a neat little facet going on there with her character. Oh, yeah. So, with that scene with Bitch and Lung, there's an interesting reversal. So, the trope of the Hounder and everything, got how I say it. It's existed for a long time. You can go back and find them. They're very interesting people across the globe and wherever they're at. But, yeah, when we got to the export of Africans from Africa, that slave trade, Hounders typically became, like, bad guys in stories. Yeah. So during that slave trade, Hounders became synonymous with the villain. And it was because people like plantation owners and stuff, especially on the islands, who would imported these enslaved people would send hounders to go and deal with escapees or to go torture or eat the children of people who were misbehaving as far as they were concerned. Like, oh, there's some people over there who are practicing some sort of martial art and whatnot. Okay, well, let's go send a hounder to go kill those guys, and a hounder will go do that. And they don't give an S. They'll go kill children. They don't give a shit. If they're hired to do a job, they will keep going until the job is done. The only way that changes is if the job was given under false pretenses and they learned that. That's it. But then they go back and kill the guy who hired him. That's just how they work. And have always historically. But getting them hired is the hard part. So with this scene where we have Lung getting ready to go kill that gang, he said he's going to go kill the kids. They're going to go kill the kids. And then he is attacked after, encountering Taylor stuff. Then he's attacked and prevented from killing kids by a hounder who's also one of those kids who is trying to go kill. So it's a very interesting reversal as we see that the hounder is no longer associated with being, let's say, that kind of bad person anymore. But it's really cool. And it's one of those points where I can say in modern times, hey, the media reversal of them has happened again to where they're back to how they used to be. Very interesting. But yeah, that's cool. I love it. I dig it. It's super fun.
Yeah, because I would say saying that bitch has that sort of mercenary role in the story where they're there to just do a job. That's pretty accurate. As you'll uncover.
That's very accurate too, Hounder. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much her whole
nice
thing.
I love that. This is great. I'm gonna love her more as I go. Read it right.
Yes, and you'll get to hear, she's also, I should say, everyone that you all of the main characters are going to be very deep, complex people, and you're going to need to explore them quite a lot over the course of this story. And bitch is definitely no exception. She has a lot going on. She's a very nuanced, complex individual, and one of the fun parts of the story is that you get to see these characters and discover things about them specifically through Taylor's lens, which means she's not always really paying attention. So a lot of the times you have to pick up on the context of what's going on, what's different, how people
reading between the lines
acting originally. There's going to be a lot of that. But also, she does speculate, on her own, and sometimes she's right, sometimes she's not. Sometimes what she's being told isn't necessarily the truth. And not everything is necessarily explained or spelled out. I'd say, in fact, most things are not explained or spelled out exactly. But a lot of things are implied, and if you're just
because all I needed while watching Bad Boys 2 was a dissertation on the police system.
Yeah, exactly. The way Taylor sees people now will change, not only as she changes, but as they change over the course of the story. And sometimes she'll figure out why, and sometimes she won't. And you have to figure out why yourself.
Yeah, if you want to. Or you can just settle for not knowing. Which, that's a choice you can make.
Oh yeah, if you're just doing your first casual read-through and you're not trying to pay too much attention to everything, you will miss a whole lot, but also at the same time, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You'll just get to experience the story, and it's fun, and it's cool, and it's interesting, and you'll probably get through it a lot faster. And then a lot of things you'll learn later will provide a whole lot
then
more.
Then you gotta come through again. Yeah. Exactly. It's kind of like
Exactly. It
watching
makes very,
Fully
very,
Cooley.
very
When you watch Fully Cooley the first time, you should just speed run that shit. And then you should watch it again and take your time. Um, yeah. Exactly. So, anyways,
yeah.
this is fun. I enjoyed this thing. Again, this not a lot that we've read, but it's so good. So let's see here. What? What? So we got enough about. Oh no, I need to say about Taylor, specifically the bathroom scene after she's been dunked on, quite literally. When she starts describing things, when the swarm of bugs are all forming up different swarms, different ones, different groups, the specificity of them all, we do get a nice explanation of like the radio feeling of it all, like how they're like different waves, and it's a really nice thing. But you can notice more of her. I only care about describing things if they matter to me when it comes to the bugs. Because she's not describing every centipede or everything like that that's coming in. You just get some general one overs of each species, and then where specifically they're coming from, that area gets described. Like the crack in the wall gets described in detail and how they're coming through it. But not the color of the wall, not anything about the wall, just that crack specifically. So that's really interesting. Like all different pieces are described that way. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I will say
she's a
this
really
story would
interesting
be
character. And
this story would be a miserable read if everything was described to that level of detail where she's describing like the colors of everything, the relation to everything, like all the different buildings around her, all that stuff. It would the story is already long enough. It would be so much longer.
it would be like a freaking Stephen King novel at that point. Because I'll tell you one thing about Stephen King novels, real quick, okay? A Stephen King novel, any one of them, could be a short 100-page novelette and be done and have everything happen the same. Have all the level of you understanding what happened, what places look like, and everything in that. But it's stretched out to such a ridiculous length. And that's why most people don't read Stephen King, they instead watch it. You know?
Yeah,
But they're
because
good.
it's
They're all really good stories and stuff, but man, they could have been so much tighter and so much better if they were.
yeah. Well, I mean, also like
Like, not everything needs to be a
Stephen
tight read.
King.
Like, I would not say things what shouldn't be.
I mean, because Stephen
Anyways,
King
continue.
wrote mostly,
Shit,
wrote
overheat.
like horror, right? And not just horror, but like you know, a lot of the stuff that he wrote was about like the creeping dread and the slow build towards
Yes.
like the big thing, right? And so like yeah, reading his
He
novels if you're
exemplified the
not
slow build.
into
Yeah.
yeah, if you're not into that kind of thing, right, it's gonna feel like a slog, right? But if you're in there for the suspense, right, as it slowly builds, it's like, when a scene in the if like, oh man, I like horror films because like the scenes drag on for way too long. Like, do we really need to spend 35 seconds like opening this door? Right. Like if you're not there for the suspense, then you're gonna think it's ridiculous, right? Um, so like the way things get
Yeah.
described,
Um,
matters. I'll
and
say
it's
if
got like
this
a pacing like a British film, where it's got this really strange Euro pacing. I don't know how else to describe it, but that's the only other place you really see that kind of pacing if you're like an American or something, you know? So
yeah, I'll-
if you
it's
want to,
like
I
it's
mean, you
more
don't want to go read a whole book or something right now, go watch a British film.
yeah, it's like it's more snappy than it is cinematic, right? Like it gets to the point and then it
Yeah,
moves on, and then it gets to the point and then it moves on.
yeah. Yeah, so with this character, yeah, it's a snappy read. It's very to the point, what she cares about, and we're on with it, Bam. You know. Uh right, let's talk about so she wants to be a hero. But of course, she has thoughts like I should kill, you know, those bitches, basically. She's nicer about it in her head,
Hmm.
but that's basically the sentiment.
Yeah,
But at the same time, she's like, nah, I'm
yeah,
not gonna because
not
I'm better than that. I'm gonna be a hero.
yeah. I believe is the um. She used a particular phrase, if I remember correctly, right? Um,
She
am I
did.
making
Yeah,
that
I
up in
just
my head?
can't squish.
Yeah, she says she's like I could go full
No, she used a
carry on the
specific phrase.
school, right?
Yes, she did say that.
Okay.
Yes, that was it.
Which
Yes, I was trying to remember what reference it was.
yeah,
God.
yeah, it pulls it's a very specific image that it evokes, right?
Mm. Yeah, especially after I have the soda poured on her and stuff, like the blood was poured on Gary. Yeah, it's really poignant.
Yeah, it really kind of shows you
Yeah.
like the first sort of hint into like her mentality, right? She's like, man, I should go fucking nuts right now. Like, nah, but that's not me. I'm not crazy. Um, which,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
wouldn't say
She has this
like I
folly.
agree. She's not
I
crazy.
should. Yeah. She has this she knows she could do it. That she would be successful. She also knows that she wouldn't be successful at evading the cops afterwards. You know, she understands this stuff, but she doesn't have the skill or ability to get away with it successfully. And she knows that. Because psychos, they atomize all this stuff. It's what we do. Anyways, so she's got that all figured out, and she knows she can't succeed at that yet. But she also knows if you're a villain and you go and you do that stuff and you go, kill school kids or whatnot, then you're a chump ass loser. And she's already a chump ass loser. But she could be a great winner if she becomes a hero. And so that's what she set herself to do. Ta-da!
Yeah, yeah. She's
Wow!
she had she in this world where superheroes and supervillains exist, right? It's like every little kid's dream to be a superhero, obviously. And Taylor was no exception, right? That's something um, that she says at some point, where she's like, "Yeah, when I was a kid, I wanted to be like so and so or so and so," and names several important and powerful superheroes,
Yeah.
and so she has that to draw
None of
on.
which are from
Then
her
when
city, by the way, from what I could tell.
uh, one of them for sure. I think she says at some point she wanted to be like Alexandria.
One of them is.
Alexandria's in LA, but you'll learn more about her later. Um,
Okay, haven't met them yet, but I'll learn about that later.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's important. Well, you'll see later. Um, but yeah, she like grows up wanting to be a
Cool.
superhero. Then when she's like living in this hell, right? She's like, man, if only there was a
Yeah.
hero around, right, to save me. And then when she finally got power, she's like, I'm going to show. She's drawing on these memories from childhood. I wanted to be a hero, thinking, knowing that being a hero is the quote unquote right thing to do, right? It's what you're supposed to do. It's expected, and she's like, I also want to prove myself to be better than the psychos who are doing these horrible, horrible things to me.
Yeah.
So it's like a multi-layered thing.
Yeah. Then it is, and it's so funny because like she is psycho, and this is happening to her, which it's pretty normal actually for psychos to experience this type of stuff, which is freaking funny because movie films would have you believe different. And woof. So, important things to note. Let's get to her creation of her costume and the intellect that went behind that. So, one thing, she does not have wisdom for shit. She has no experience on nothing at all, but she knows that. So, yeah.
Sorry, it's just occasionally you'll say something that is foreshadows not just one thing that happens in the future, but many things. And it's I if you hear me bust out laughing, it's because you just said something like along those lines.
Yeah. Woof, you're welcome. But yes,
Very
she
funny.
doesn't have wisdom. She completely lacks it. But she knows she does. And again, she can't do anything about not having wisdom. You have to get it, or find someone who has it to then give you, intelligence to cover your ass. So she's done her best to get the intelligence to cover her ass. But again, she's done it by herself. So when it comes to making her suit, she did a lot of research on what she wanted to do with it. Like, there's so much in just those first 5 pages about suits and masks and plaiting and the differences between something that's just like a store-bought Halloween costume thrown on top of like an armored piece of Kevlar or whatever you ordered online versus having something entirely tailor-made by like a crazy cool manufacturer who's paying it for you to have it and make you a cool superhero outfit and all this other stuff. There's a lot of talk about it within this and just a lot of thoughts that go into it. Like, a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
No, no.
100%. Yeah, she spends a lot of time thinking about it. I just don't worry about it. But yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And
Yeah, so
so pursuit.
so yeah, okay, I'm just gonna go. When it comes to her own suit, she decides to do a lot of research about, or decided to in the past, and did a lot of research. Figured out what she wanted. She wanted something with this specific tensile strength. She wanted something that could hopefully withstand a bullet, but could be really armored, but also be movable and be shaped however she needed and look like a cool suit. And so she realized with her powers, with what she can access and utilize, she could use spider silk. And then she figured out a lot of specificity from the kinds that she could find and bring over there and settle on to, Black Widows. And then put in the work to start having them weave a suit, make sure there weren't too many around so they wouldn't eat each other or, beat each other out of food supplies, and did all this stuff to piece together something so that she would have this is important right here, she would have a perfect, we call it, first appearance, basically. Like her first night out, her first time being a superhero, she'd have a perfect suit built. It'd have all the flexibility she needed, have all the armor she needed. It would have the look she wanted. She'd be able to color it the way that she wanted and stuff. But that
Yeah,
whole
because
perfection is part of all of her
she is like sorry,
Yeah, go though.
she is a keep in mind she is like a bullied teenage girl in high school, right? So she understandably has some self-image issues. Uh, so I personally think that's a huge
Yeah.
part of why she spends so long preparing to make sure she makes good first impression, so that way it's a momentum that carries her forward, and people will take her seriously. People will think good of her rather than her experience, which has been rather negative up to this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I think she has some Well, okay. I'm gonna put a little thing here. So I am not, nor will I ever be a therapist or any of that kind of douchebag. And the reason for that is I don't put stock in those guys. Like all the ones I met were literally just paid off for whoever gave them the most money to agree with whatever the hell they said and fuck over people. Never met a good one. They exist apparently, but I've never met them. So, yeah.
Mm,
But here's the thing. People with psychosis and people with autism have very similar ways of handling their problems, but they're not exact. They're off to weird little degrees, like making journals and writing down information about people, including yourself, and rating them on a numeric system. Both of them benefit from doing that, but in different ways. So, yeah, and it keeps them from having major problems, but in different ways. So, I think she has psychosis. And, she's not getting proper help for it because she doesn't know what is, as she hasn't been able to self-diagnose or get someone else who is capable of diagnosing her to let her know she has that and then she can handle it. But, it's an internal thing. It's very hard to get it to note unless you have a lot of psychotic breaks, which are the thing you teach yourself to avoid, if you want to survive. Boy. So, anyway, that creates its own subsect of issues and problems. And being seen and how you treat and react to that is incredibly thought out. Like, there are things you don't care. But it's not because you don't care. It's because you're unable to care. You put all your work into other things, like making sure the movie night went perfect and that you were, seen saying the right things by the people at the popcorn stand or stuff. You did all this work. It's always work, and there's no reward for it until later, and sometimes that reward never comes, which is you're like dopamine. You don't get that the way a normal neuro person does. You get it differently. So for her, this suit, this appearance, and this showing up and it being perfect isn't just, teen girl surviving drama school stuff. It's literally surviving. So hey, for this to go perfectly is the only way she, in her brain, and the way it's chemically processing, that's the only way she survives. That is what will get her through. And that's a big problem, because when you have that and that doesn't happen that way, it's not a, well, yay, I had a good day and stuff. It's, I don't know if I've survived. I could be fucked. Everything could be ruined. I could be dying right now and not know it yet. And I think that's going to cause problems for her, since things did not go perfectly, but they did go incredibly well at the same time. So because of how it went down, I think there's going to be issues in her mind conflicting on whether or not she survived and did a great job, or if she failed and did the worst job ever. She's going to have, because she's not going to set to being a middle ground. Like, I just don't see that being the case. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. That's some interesting observations and thoughts. I can't
Yeah,
necessarily
I'm so
confirm
excited to see
or
how things
deny
go. Can you imagine if the very next
something.
chapter she says, like, this is a perfect middle ground and I feel happy about that. I will fucking, like, eat a shoe. Ah.
Uh, yeah. I don't think you'll be eating any shoes. We'll say that. Um,
All right, good. Woof.
so,
Squish, squish. Yeah.
yeah. So that's a lot about Taylor. Um, who she is, how she's thinking. Just general stuff. Um, I, I'd like to get your
Yeah.
impressions on some of these other characters. I know we've only seen them rather briefly,
Oh, yes.
but you did give
Here.
a bit of on
Here.
on bits
Let's
already.
do a thing. Yeah. So let's do a thing. You'll go over the characters, tell me a little bit of detail about them so I can get the brain joltage. And then after that, let's go into you asking about specific scenes or bits or tidbits that we just didn't cover yet that are from this section, if you remember them.
Sure.
Because I know we didn't talk about the
Yeah.
first superhero yet or anything like that, and we definitely gotta.
Oh, yes. But we'll save the interlude stuff for the very end because that's where several big important things came, like were like briefly mentioned and kind of just sprinkled in, and then we also get to see things from Danny's perspective. But we'll save that for
New
the end.
perspective, yeah.
So
Sounds good
we'll
to me.
start
Yeehaw.
at we'll we'll start at the school. What are your thoughts on? I mean, we kind of
Yeah,
like
where things started.
glossed over Madison a little bit. Um, I- I'll say Madison. She doesn't really fucking matter. So tell me what you think of Emma and Sophia. What are your thoughts there?
They're the two side bitches, right?
Emma is her former best friend, the redhead, and Sophia is the track
Okay.
star, like
All
who's like
right,
the
all right.
physical one.
Okay. So I have more thoughts on Emma than I do the other one. So
Okay.
I think my whole view on Madison was covered. Uh, Madison is very similar, but I feel that she's got some sort of like follower issue. Like she shouldn't be a little minion or getting involved with these people. She should be running her own show. But she's there with them. She hasn't got over whatever's keeping her back mentally, even though physically she's able to go. She could run the show. Yeah, this could be her show at any time, but she just doesn't let herself do that for some reason. And then Emma.
Hmm, okay.
Okay. So I'm interested in what's going on with Emma, but I don't really care for Emma. So, well, that's funny to say. But
Yeah, I don't think you're
when
supposed
Taylor
to.
was talking about
But
Emma, she mentioned how they were best friends. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying. You said you didn't really care for Emma, and I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to. But uh, go ahead, continue.
Yeah, I'm sure some idiot did. Uh, but, yeah. So, Emma, woof, with the information we get, I'm super interested in knowing the whys behind her dogmatic shift, you know, because from Taylor's perspective, we get that Taylor goes to camp and then comes back and is no longer best friends with her and not a friend at all. It's all gone. And that's how she sees it and remembers it. But again, this is when she was a lot younger and stuff. And I'm sure there's a specific moment there too that she remembers perfectly. What she might not be remembering is some other specific moments that would give her context now that she's had, time to grow up and think about it. And then she might be able to understand why things went the way they did. But, yeah, so I don't know. But Taylor just might not have gotten those context things at all. We have no idea yet. Emma suddenly changing over and being uber mega bitch is very... I'm cursing a lot in this episode. I don't normally curse, but I'm tired. So, I say I don't normally curse. I mean, I don't normally curse while I'm recording. When I'm talking to people,
I
it's all centered on who I'm talking to.
Yeah, that's fully accurate. Um, I'll say like we probably won't be cursing all that much while we're talking about this. However, the word bitch will be used quite a lot. There is a character in the story named Bitch, so that's going to
Yeah.
happen. Also, a lot of people act like
Yes.
bitches, and they're going to get called out, usually by Taylor.
Yeah, and you know what? I have no problem using that terminology here. I'm not my mother. My mother would, I think she's literally killed people for calling her a bitch, but that was, back during her gang days, so whatever. Different times. So, yeah. Anyway,
Mhm.
this story is very fun. Emma's part in it and how it's dramatically shifted Taylor's direction in life is something I'm excited to hear more about. But I want to know
Okay.
because I know a little tiny bit about parahumans simply because of people on the internet mentioning little bits of it and me later learning it was this, you know. Like,
That's
for
fascinating because
example,
I
when
had
someone gets
never
their
heard of it.
powers, it can be a big thing. Yeah, I had no idea it was this at all. Like, I'd seen little tiny little fucking things and had no idea what they were from. They were just random little clips on my, like, feeds and stuff. I was like, okay, cool. No idea it was this, you know, until, you show me this thing. And then I read through it enough. I'm like, oh, I think I remember something sort of relating to this. And you'll check it out. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I did. In fact, you know what? I've seen a picture of Long before. Wow, that's
You
cool.
have?
I had no idea that's what that was. That was on DeviantArt. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it could have been Lung, or it could have been one of
And
the
I was
protagonists
like,
from the
when I
Yakuza
saw
movie.
on DeviantArt, I was like, that's a stupid name.
Oh, yeah.
Why would you name a guy with like all those claws and fucking like lava eyes and shit? Why would you name him Lung? That's stupid. But I didn't have the context.
Well, I'm not sure how much
Yeah,
Chinese you know, but
yeah.
Lung is the Chinese word for dragon.
Yeah, I didn't know that back then. I was like, that's stupid.
Yeah, fair enough.
They have air with like wind breath or anything. We get him. So yeah, it was. Yeah, I had no context. It was a random picture on DeviantArt that was really well done, and that was it. Just a few little random things like that. No idea, no context, nothing. And now I'm like, oh, I did see like 2 or 3 things. Wow, that's cool. Nothing about bitch though. Never saw her. Never saw anything about her. Never heard anything about her. And I'm like, but she's my favorite. Why isn't there like fan art of her like riding the super cool dog like that? What? Screw you guys. I
Um,
mean, it might be
I will
now,
send
but
you some pictures.
now I know what it is, so I can actually go
Uh,
look it up. Maybe I'll find some.
okay,
Thank you.
so a fair bit of warning. I'll send you some pictures. Most fan art is posted to the Worm wiki. Don't go there.
Oh, cool.
um, there are
You know
major
what?
spoilers
Actually,
right
I
at the top of
think you
every
got a
page.
good point. Yeah. Yeah. You got a good point there. I'll stay away for now until I finish. Then I'll read through that and
Yeah,
see what I have to say about their wiki.
I was like halfway through the story and I couldn't remember something specific about a character. So I was like, I'll just look them up. I looked them up and then went to the I went to their wiki page and I was just like at the top where there's like the gray box for characters, right? That shows like their name, their age, stuff like that. It was like do, and then like there's like different sections like like powers and affiliation and whether they're alive or not and that kind of thing. And I'm like,
Time of death.
oh,
Get
oh my
out.
god, there was a huge spoiler in one of those.
Like,
It wasn't even the time of death section. It was the relationship section. I went, I'm sorry, excuse me, and it was
oh,
for those
fun.
of you out there who have read this all the way through or have any idea what I'm talking about. I couldn't remember exactly how Eidolon's thing worked, and so I looked up the Eidolon page halfway through the story and scrolled down and saw the relationship section and had a mental breakdown. Uh, but yeah, well, that
Okay.
don't
Wow.
worry,
That's going to
none
be
of that will
fun when
make
I
any
get
sense
there.
to you. But
Woof. He's
yeah,
had
well,
637 wives. I don't know.
Yeah,
That
don't speculate on that too much. You
this is
will
getting
not get there,
Mickey.
trust me.
I won't.
Um,
I don't know or care yet. No, I might though. I might. Remember what happened with our own superhero game where the universe gave me the answer out of random bullshit?
I'll be honest, if you manage to guess to guess this particular tidbit, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll do something. I don't know what, but
Yeah,
I'll do something. Because that's
that's
probably
okay.
one of the
You'll
most,
join me for a charity stream or something.
yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll do that. Um, right.
Okay,
We
cool.
got a little bit
Every
sidetracked.
chapter, I'll make a guess about the Eidolon thing, and I mean a guess. Okay? My
I
guess
do
this
also
time
want
was,
to.
lots of wives, like 600 wives. But I
That's
haven't met him
very
yet, so I
funny.
don't know.
Um, yeah, you don't even know who this is yet, but that's fine. Uh, another thing is at the end, I do want to hear some guesses from you about where the story's going and things you think will be plot points, that kind of thing, and
Oh,
just
yeah.
whatever's
After
on your
we
mind. I want to hear your
go over
I
the
want to hear your
chapter, that's
crackpot
something we
theories.
should definitely do.
Um, but yeah, we got a little sidetracked. So
Yeah, crackpot theories are
Destin
great.
and Emma. Um, did you have any? Did
Yeah.
Sophia stick
Emma,
out
I
to
don't really
you at
care
all?
about
Was there
yet.
anything
Really
about
excited
her?
for why. Can you describe her again real
Right.
quick, or what she did?
So Sophia is the track star. She is Emma's new best friend.
Right. Okay. So I think I did a quick
Taylor,
cover of her. Did I cover? I
yeah,
think I meant to, but I didn't. Okay.
yeah.
So
Taylor
with her,
very briefly
I
described her.
feel that
Um, Good.
yeah, not even like vindictively. I really was expecting because it's the new best friend that she would be described as some sort of, mega ultra demon bitch who stole people from her or something. But no, it's just kind of like a generic basic description. So I don't think she thinks much of her at all, which is interesting. So especially since she
Yeah,
has like the physical attributes and stuff you expect from a hero. Like this is stuff that Taylor should have been doing to get where she should be once she discovered she had powers, but she didn't even acknowledge this person or what they're doing as something to strive for in any way, shape, or form, She doesn't say, like, man, I wish I had legs like that or whatever. Nothing. There's nothing like that there. So, as far as I'm concerned, she's kind of a space that's disinterested in Taylor's mind for whatever reason. And I don't know if that has something to do with things she's pushed down when it comes to why her best friend went against her in the first place or what. I know there's something there that Taylor's refusing to acknowledge or care about, but I don't know what it is.
I
Uh,
hope to God
yeah.
that there are actual people who listen to this at some point who have read the story, because holy shit, yeah, I had to mute my mic for a minute. Um, anyway, beyond that, I think there's an
Oh.
interesting, there is kind of an interesting,
but,
there is a little bit of an interesting parallel, right? Because Sophia runs track, right? She's like, she's a sprinter, she's like a runner, like, like
yeah.
sports level runner. And one thing that Taylor has
Exactly. Like I
taken
said,
up recently is
yeah.
is running, right? She has started to do that.
Yeah. Exactly.
But
But she doesn't
I'm
make
pretty sure
any
she has
note
done that in
about
the
it
start.
towards this person. Like,
Oh yeah, no, she doesn't relate
what?
it to Sophia at
I
all. I
don't
don't even think
remember her
she's
saying
realized.
anything. Exactly. At all. What she's doing there. Yeah. Exactly. That she is using this other person who is a prime example of what she should be doing, who has her best friend who she used to have the thing she wants, but can't have anymore and therefore, like, has to reject, you know, is doing the thing. And she started to do that thing and stuff. Like, it's really interesting. But yeah, the fact she's not thinking about her or describing her or talking about her is what makes her interesting. Especially when we see that she is doing things that character is literally known for. Like, she didn't take up kickboxing or anything, Taylor. No. She took up the thing that her old best friend's new best friend does. Like, that's a fun
Almost
piece
a
of
bunch of
information to
things,
use,
yeah.
and I'm excited for what's going on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, I'm so glad
Oh, my
that we're
goodness.
focusing on specific characters here because, whew boy. All right, moving on. Next, I have a
Yeah, because
question
otherwise,
about.
it's. Yeah.
Go ahead. You have another thought?
No, you get go. Give me the question.
No.
Rawr.
Okay, so next, I want your take on
Yeah.
Long. What do you think? What do you think about him? I know you didn't really get to see his personality all that much, other than very angry. But what did you think of like how Taylor, like, because like before Taylor kind of runs into him, right? You have no idea who this is, and then she bumps into this guy, and she's like, I don't really know much about the villains in this city, but even I know who this motherfucker is. He's a bad motherfucker, right? Um, did her
It
did
is.
she, like did his
Well,
like threat has come through, right? Did, how did you see Long, and what are your thoughts on that about him?
well, I ran with a lot of people who are criminals, but that's just because they were around me. So what makes Lung very interesting is that he's switched genre of criminal. You can tell by everything it's said about him and everything. Like, Lung is someone who is a mafioso. He 100% is. However, he has gone and done a thing that mafiosos don't do, which is run gangs and get them together. Now, there's reasons they don't do that because gangs are opposite of mafiosos. Like, they run opposite things. Mafias are based on crews. You have tight crews and you have loose crews. Lung is from tight crew society within a mafioso group. However, gangs are the opposite. Gangs are the exact opposite of a crew. They're a pack. And there's a big difference here. The pack has weaklings and stuff, and they take credit. They want the credit. That's what they're about. They want to go to prison. They want to get butt fucked. They want to do all that other stuff to prove that they're hard, to prove that they've suffered, to prove that they're the worst. That's what gangs are about. Mafias, which rely on, tight-knit crews, are the opposite. They don't want anyone to ever know that they did a thing. On half the time, they don't want to know the things that other members of their own crew have done unless it relates to how they're going to get stuff done. Lung comes from that.
Yeah,
And you can tell by the way
just like
he
the
acts, how he's
real
directing the people and
real
stuff, and the information said about him.
real quick, would you say that that's kind of like the difference between internal validation versus external validation?
You know what? That's a really good way of putting it. Yeah, exactly. You got it on the head.
Yeah, a gang is about reputation, whereas a crew is about results, right?
Exactly. Yes. And he is from the results oriented sphere where it's about getting people together who have talents and skills and utilizing them to their utmost to get a thing done and be done with it and move on, reaping your rewards. He's dealing with people who are the exact opposite. And that's why he's so freaking angry about him, and like directing him the way he is. Because you can't communicate with a gang member the way you do a mafioso. It doesn't work.
Hmm.
So it's really interesting to
Okay.
see him there. And it just felt like when I saw people I knew, when they were interacting with the new people from California who were coming up trying to get into the sphere and stuff, Because like that, they come from like fucking gang type people. And Alaska is all crew based. So that was that was a clash, you know? But yeah, he reminds me
Yeah,
of those sorts of
Alaska
moments
doesn't
of the
have
people trying
many.
to deal with that crap.
Yeah, Alaska doesn't really have many gangs, really. Too many people with
Yeah.
guns who are not afraid to like defend their homes with lethally. So I think.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
just their
Anchorage is
homes.
kind of a shit.
Like, there are
So
people who are willing to walk into a Walmart and shoot a guy there because he kills a kid or something, you know? Like, that's just an ordinary Alaskan willing to do that. And gangs are all about
yeah,
saying what you did. So, yeah.
yeah,
They don't do well there.
no, no, because you go around advertising,
Yeah.
the horrible shit
So,
you've done. You're
yeah.
not gonna garner respect. You're gonna get a gun to the head. Is what's gonna happen.
You're gonna get got. Exactly. And because someone, especially with those crews, someone is out there trying to sell people and their body parts and their limbs. And you just said yours were entirely morally justified to take. Someone's seeing a paycheck.
Yeah,
That,
yeah, um, yeah.
that's
Too much. Like you're like, oh yeah, the
yeah.
cops are not gonna
And so
investigate
that's how he's
you.
looking at them, like a mafioso who's look at art. You know what? A good way to relate it for people who don't understand crime is if you ever seen Vampire the Masquerade, you know how a vampire is like, do not reveal my secrets. When I say blood hunt, no one should know I'm hunting people for their blood. You know, that's the mafioso. And the gang member is the stupid ghoul who goes like, man, gee whiz, I'm gonna go eat some babies or grab some for my master to eat in the middle of like town square. You know, like, shut the fuck up, bruh.
Yeah, it's like the Camarilla versus the Sabat, right?
Yeah. Well, at least at the
For
basic bitch level of those groups. Both once you get up to the
yeah,
higher
yeah,
parts
at
are
the
all
lower
crew
level.
based.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
they all
that's the
come
lower
from
levels right there.
like,
Where one is
far
still
enough,
crew
but
based and the other one is gang. Yeah. Woof.
yeah, yeah. So
But yeah, so there you go. You have lots
that was
of
some
fun
interesting
ways
thoughts
of
about.
seeing this and understanding my perspective, how Lung is as a person, and what he's dealing with. So, power wise and stuff,
Oh,
I don't really care. Like, Lung has a very interesting wheelhouse. That's cool and all, but he doesn't really matter with his power set yet. The point was that he was an overwhelming force right now. Later, that might become more important. And like the way they work was also important for noting how things going and how important what bitch was doing is. You know, because like, yeah, woof. But anyways, we'll get to that when we get to bitch. Anyways, Lung is very interesting because he's everything that, you know, if Tater wanted to be a bad villain person and stuff, be the biggest evil bitch ever, that's who she should be trying to emulate. But of course, she's not, yet, anyways, and, you know, is doing what she can to be the opposite, be a good person. Whereas he's on the road to being the best villain there is in that town, you know. So it's very interesting. But he still has his crew. What I want is to see more of, I don't know how I will if he's just done, but seeing Lung in relation to the rest of his crew, or the rest of his crew in relation to him, will be interesting. Because we got a little bit of information, which was his little second in command, and what he was doing as like the distraction while Lung was getting ready to go take care of business. Well, this is just falling off right now. It's just flying off. It just went in the wrong direction. I got this little thing I'm supposed to be wearing. It's just doing what it wants instead of what I need it to do. We won't try to fix it. Man.
Yeah.
Wait
So
a minute,
the
Meryl.
second command, I don't remember. He didn't even
Get
show up at all in the first arc, right? Like you didn't even see him.
In person, no. But the information about him and what he was doing did. You know, as well as a
Okay.
bit of what he can do. So,
Yeah. So they just the brief description of what he can
it's
do.
enough to
Do you
make
have any
me want
vibes
to
on
know.
that guy?
Yeah. Huh. I have any vibes on that guy yet. Not. But I like my vibes on him are very. How do I say it? Like, if Starscream lacked ambition, If that makes sense to you.
I think so. I mean, I don't know anything about Transformers other than what Jonathan has rambled to me. Um, he, I have
Yeah,
heard him
but
yell
you sort of
Starscream is a
get it,
little
right?
bitch
Like,
a whole lot. So,
yes.
um,
Yeah.
based on the
Yeah.
very
The
little
thing
I
that
know,
makes
I'd say that's probably
Starscream
accurate.
so successful is his ambition. But if you were to strip that away, I feel like you'd have a character like what I've heard about this guy so far. So,
Okay,
yeah.
that's an
I
interesting
feel like
thought.
he's a sneaky little bitch. He's gonna be a long-lasting threat, and I think one of the big reasons why is he's a low-tier mafioso. He knows he's a crew member and he's from the type of society, but that he's lower because he didn't try to beat the boss. But he's running with gangs and stuff, so he's always gonna have people to throw in front of him to take the hit and get out. So he's going to be there a long time causing problems, is how I see it. Even if, like, the story no longer revolves around him in any way, shape, or form, he'll still be out there being a little SOB. That's my thoughts on
Okay,
him.
okay, that's interesting. So they did say that they
Yeah.
briefly described his capabilities.
Yeah, if that one
What
dies,
is
it's not from a threat. It's from, like, tripping on black ice, you know? That's how those guys die.
Yeah, something like that. So what did they
Anyways, you
say
were saying I.
his yeah, his capabilities, like his powers, what do you know about them so far? Also, his
Gosh,
name is
I
Oni
don't
Lee, so you don't have to
actually
keep
don't
bringing up
remember.
that
It
guy.
was really fast when they were. Oni Lee! Oh my gosh, thank you. Oni Lee, when they were describing him, they really gave like a small, like, pizza cutter, tiny, what do you call it, like a sentence of information. That was it. Everyone else seemed to
Yeah,
get more
so
than him.
if I
What was.
remember correctly,
I'm
they
trying to
probably
think
called
about what it
him
was.
they probably called him
Chris,
the teleporting assassin.
uh, yeah, I don't think that's what he does, though. I think they're misinterpreting him. Because here's the reason
Hmm.
Starscream is always misinterpreted. People think he's doing one thing and he's actually being a bitch about something else. And I mean that. Like, usually, like, something ridiculous. But, anyways, that leads to all sorts of problems, but him almost always getting away or winding up standing next to the captain of his enemies the whole time they're discussing a plan and then sneaking out and letting everyone know what's up. Something is going on with Oni Lee that people don't understand.
Hmm.
And he's going to survive because of
Okay.
that. Whatever it is. They said he's got something where he's like either really fast or teleports or something like that. I don't think that's what it
Yeah,
is.
he is.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe he messes with vibrations and like goes through stuff. I don't know. But it's not what they
Hmm.
think, and he's gonna survive it. They're gonna shoot him point blank or something. He's just gonna walk away because that's not how those guys die. He's got something. I don't know what it is. But yeah, they're not saying what
Fascinating
he does
observation.
right. They don't know.
Um, okay, I'll just say you're kind of like half
It's like
right,
you
but
scream star scream to me.
that'll
Cool.
more important later.
But I'm
All right,
excited
and
when
then
I get to see him do something. I'm sure I'll start figuring it out.
yeah, he might be one of the sing like the if it wasn't for we'll just go ahead and call it the lack of ambition. Um, he would probably be the scariest
Yeah.
motherfucker in the city. Um, but because he doesn't apply himself, and there's a reason for that. Um, he's mostly just kind of does whatever Lung tells him. Uh, but
Got see. Okay, so
that
I'm right.
relationship and
My
and
basic perception of him as like ambitionless start screen is right. Okay, cool. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, so kind of
Nice.
sort of
I'm
yeah.
gleaning so
You're on the right
much,
track.
guys. I'm so good. Give me a cookie.
Um,
Anyways.
I mean, you
All
definitely
right,
get
all right,
three
all right.
quarters of a thumbs up because you're pretty close. Um, All right. Now,
Hey.
big important question. Kind of the last characters we have to discuss before we get to the interlude
Yeah.
are the undersides. So
Yeah.
let's start. Let's start with your. We'll start with your
Okay.
favorite. We've talked about bitch a decent amount. So anything we want to pick that back up, you can start with bitch.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So, bitch is my favorite. When we're introduced to her, we don't see her. We see her hound first, hitting the target. That's the big threat in the room, which is an immediate danger to Taylor, who her and her crew don't know if is an ally or enemy yet, but because of her suit design, assume she's another villain and one who's an enemy of Lung, so close enough. Immediately her dog attacks Lung, gets him away from her. Like, it's not just attack Lung on the fucking rooftop and stay there laughing around. Somehow, that battle very quickly between those two characters leads to off the roof, down on the ground again. Then she gets there, gets the people who can talk and figure things out to this other person to figure out that situation, and then focuses entirely on the battle that's going on there and sends her dogs as necessary to go assist. Now, what's really interesting about this is when Mung was done fighting Taylor, well, he wasn't done, but right, when that part ends, he is already at, like, the point of power past where most things in, like, newspapers and stuff have reported him being and going. He's right there. He's at that cusp. So either he's got new shit to handle or he's near the end of his rope. And from the way things went, either he had one or two tricks left or he was at the end of that rope. I'm not sure which, because Taylor wasn't paying attention at the point. She didn't go and look at what was going on the ground level after they went down. But Gitch knows and learned whatever it was and handled that shit. So that situation's handled by the time Armalist or whatever his name is shows up.
Arms Master?
Like, yeah. Love bitch, very great. If I have one caveat about her, it's her mask is stupid and she should get someone to make her a new one or anything else, please. Anything. That's stupid. Her outfit's okay, but that mask is stupid. Get something new. It works, but it's stupid.
That's a fair assessment of her costume. So since we're talking about her, I will send you some pictures.
I'm having a random pain. How hilarious. You send me pictures, I get pained. Ouch. This better not become a normal thing. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Here is some fan
I'm just gonna
art
do a quick
of
check to make sure everything's still working.
Mrs.
Oh, wow.
or Miss Rachel Lynch.
See, that mask so much. Yes. Oh, it's so dope. But yeah, she's so good. I love it. Man, that's great.
Yeah, I especially like the one
Yeah, I
where
love it.
like
That's
where they've
cool.
drawn her powered up dogs. I'm like, yeah, those motherfuckers are terrifying. I can see why I'm
Yes.
fucking scared as shit.
Yeah, they are. And like the way they're described, they sound like a final boss in Silent Hill, man. I love them. Woof.
Yeah, and she's just like casually.
Okay, let me just
like,
check
yeah,
to
I
make
have,
sure
like,
stuff's still
three of
going.
them
Okay,
right
it's still
now.
working. Yeah. Right. She has
But
three
yeah,
of them amped up to that level. I don't know if they stay that way all the time or that's them amped. I think it's them amped because that's normal for hounders.
Yeah, if they were like that,
But
yeah, if they
yeah,
were like that
I'm
all the time, they'd probably find her pretty
so
quick.
excited.
I'm glad you're excited.
Yeah,
I'm
like
also excited.
there's a lot of work you have to do to keep something like that secret. So it's so cool. Like, and she doesn't have anyone who I think could really ensure those stayed secret if they were like that all the time. Part of what I mean by that is she doesn't have anyone who does like fog or messes with the machinery or, anything like that yet. From what I can tell, the bases for obfuscation are not covered by her gang. Or crew, whatever they are. I don't know if it's a full-on gang, if it's a proper crew, or what yet. All we've seen is a small set of them, which are the kids. there could be more, and they could be, classically like, hey, you want to join the gang? Get raped in. I don't know yet, but I think they're more like maybe a set of crews who work together. I don't know yet.
Question. I'm sorry. Run that one more time. You said that there's like she's missing someone who could provide fog.
Yeah, something like a fog or mechanical cover, like enough to keep her dogs, if they were that form, constantly out of sight.
Oh.
The
Okay.
party doesn't
Okay.
have something to cover that level of something. Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
you know,
Okay.
like
Because I'm
they
like,
would be found pretty quick. Yeah.
okay. Now I understand what you mean. Because yeah. Okay. Okay. Um.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just one of their powers is
I'm
literally to
glad you
create
figured out what
fog.
I'm saying.
I was
Because,
really
yeah.
because I was really confused. Oh man.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
not to the degree we need for this, At
No,
least,
no. I mean, yeah.
not
His
yet. Maybe
fog
they
is
get there.
pretty
I don't know. But I don't think they're there
useless.
yet. Yeah.
Um.
Like it's okay, if
Yeah.
you're able to make a
Yeah.
whole
So
district all super foggy and shit all the time, then cool. You got this, If it looks like Hong Kong at night, then alright. Cool. Uh,
um. Okay. So yeah.
but
So I guess I'll go in descending order of their relevance in that particular moment in that scene, right? Um, what did you think
okay.
of Regent?
Is that the one with the skull mask helmet or the other one?
Nope, the other one.
Oh, that with
He
the
had
frilly
like
frou frous?
yes, frilly frou frou guy.
Frilly frou frou guy with the masquerade mask and stuff. I don't
Yes.
have enough of him to have a proper opinion. My
Okay.
current opinion is you're a little bit of a bitch. You're kind of playing at what you are when you should be exemplifying it. I I had a little bit more opinions on him, but I don't remember quite what it was. So far, he's not someone I particularly remember or care about, but I think that
That's fair.
comes from the
Like I said,
feeling of he seems like he's playing instead of,
just kind of there. Okay. Yeah.
villain.
I mean, that's why it's like we're going in order of relevance in so far, right? Like obviously he's gonna be way more
Yeah.
important as we go forward.
So
You'll know a lot
I'll
more about
talk
him. But
about him
here you
a
kind of
little
just
bit
kind of
more.
see him.
Like, yeah, he's sort of just here. He's sort of just playing. And I have a real big problem with that. Because in the situation they're in, he's kind of fulfilling an interesting role because he's sort of acting like this element of, oh, you can be with us, we're sort of like chill, ordinary people who are kind of playful and stuff, so you can fit right on in if you're a normal, playfulish person and stuff. You can tell us in jokes and things. He's sort of giving off those vibes, but again, it feels more like he's not doing it out of fulfilling that social role, but moreover, just because he's not really taking in the gravity of the situation and what's going on. They literally went
Okay.
after a man who was coming to kill all of them, and he just sort of acting like that. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like he's in the real world at the moment, you know? It's sort of like when a gamer
Hmm.
turns on their gamer mode and is like playing a game. That's how he feels to me,
That's
And I don't know if he can
interesting.
actually take that off.
See, and this is why I asked
So,
you for these
yeah, that's
assessments
my opinion
early
on him
on.
so far.
Even though you've barely seen him, you don't know much about him. those were some very interesting observations. Um, yep, I love hearing
Wow.
that. So I am sending you more pictures, by the way, of these characters as we talk about them.
Oh, awesome, awesome,
So
awesome. Okay.
yeah,
I do has my phone here, so I can take a look see at pictures. There you go. Nice.
so yeah, that's the one after
Yeah, I
the
see.
picture of
The
the
way
bitch.
they drew him in that first one kind of makes me feel justified in my thoughts there. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And
All
then
right. Cool.
so
Cool.
then I sent
Cool.
you a few
Who's
pictures
next on the
of
list?
yeah. So the next guy we're going to talk about here is Guru. I sent you three pictures of this guy,
Yeah.
the guy with the
Okay.
skull mask.
Crew. Yes. I have to say this about him. I don't think he's a gamer playing a game. Like, that he's playing and being silly. I think he's working. You know, like people say, oh, they're playing at being a friend or whatever, stuff, blah, blah, but that's not play. That's work. I feel he's putting in that social work. Like, I think he understands bitch is doing what she needs to do. And he is supposed to be handling this social situation to make sure they didn't just, put a hero right in the middle of all of them who has the power to, like, insta kill them or whatever. Or actually found someone worse than Lung who, like, eats babies and is gonna start skinning them as soon as they look away. You know, he seems to understand that situation and be like, okay, I'm going to assess this, tone down, calm down the situation, and ensure we have an ally here. Stick to it like they are one from the beginning to not even give them a thought that they could be an enemy of ours. You know, I feel like he is assessing, calming, doing actual work, and I feel he's a little annoyed at Regent for being like, because he can tell from what I can that Regent isn't putting on a show to look friendly and just, but he's actually that way. And I think you can see it in him talking here. And he does utilize the other woman whose name is eluding me right now. But he seems to use her
Mhm.
correctly to back up the things he's doing, but also to give him a proper assessment of what he's unlocked about Taylor. Because he's saying these things, he's doing this stuff. She's not giving him much, not enough for someone of his skill to assess where they're at. But he's got that other person there and is, relegating and delegating Taylor's answers to this other person so that he can see what's going on. So I feel like he understands his crew. He knows his people, and he's putting on a bit of a show to be this friendly, nice face when, whatever he really is different than that. He might still be nice. He
Hmm.
might actually be kind to the people he knows and cares about, but the face he's showing right now is the one of apprehensiveness and let's not have an enemy here. Let's be chill, be cool, figure out what's going on, and set things in motion. They're going to be good if we got an ally here. If we got someone who's going to bring pizza every Tuesday, great. If we got someone who's going to be our enemy and be a problem, I want you to not act on it now. I want to get this done and I want to go home. So we are not ready for you, especially since he knows it's someone who is on the level to fight Lung toe to toe and get him to his peak. Like, that's a lot. So I got mad respect for him as a leader. Whether or not he's actually the leader of the crew, he's able to put on the show of that role really well. And to actually be in the moment and be reacting appropriately. So, yeah, I dig that.
Awesome. I Man, I'm adoring these assessments. Um, this is this is great. Um, trying to find good pictures of the last one here. However, all of these links are broken. So I'm having issues. Can you please?
Oh
Can you please?
no!
Fucking. God damn it. My browser is.
Man. Squish. By the way, I got a new, I say new, I modified my Vroid model to be more Halloween-y and stuff like that, but not going too crazy into it, you know? Instead of experimenting with, like, what can be erased, what can be colored, what can I do here, what can I add highlights, you know, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, it's fun. And it was kind of appropriate for doing something new. Yeah. Here, I remember. Squish, 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 squish.
There we go.
Squish, squish, squish.
Yeah, finally find a link that works. Can you get off the.
They be fighting you. Ah, well, well, well.
Okay. So the last
They doobie 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 doobie.
member of the last member of the Undersiders we have to talk about. What did you think of
Yeah.
Tattletale? Pictures in chat.
The name disappeared.
Hmm?
Okay, can you name drop again?
Oh, Tattletale.
Tattletale. Okay, yes. Oh my goodness. Well, here's my thoughts. One, she killed. Two, I'd have killed this bitch. Well, okay. So, from talking to you last time, I know she's not actually a scion. Like, she's not, like, really up in your mind, reading your thoughts like it's a blank canvas.
Mm-hmm.
But she comes off like someone who is. And for me and my crews, anyone like that is the most dangerous threat to the entire crew. And I don't like that. You know, my common name around those people was a slur. So, yeah, I'm at that point, I'm like, I can't risk them making me seem more like that. So, I'd off that person. But that would be me if I was in that crew. Or if I was opposed to them immediately, that would be my main target. However, if I thought I had a way of shielding myself from that, perfect. That's exactly who I want around, so I know what's going on with everyone else. You know, but that I have to be like, can I trust them? But the problem with the Scion is you don't know how much of the thoughts that they're incorporating into themselves, because it's more like that, are still theirs. So how much do you know them versus the people around them and stuff? How are they able to keep themselves? Do they have mantras? All this stuff. It's someone who I would have to study the most out of anyone in that crew, just to warrant whether or not they should be alive, whether they're a threat to me and everybody, all this other stuff. Like, they're the most dangerous person in there from the way they come off. But because I know, sadly, that they're not actually a scion, but they got something else going on. They're like psych or something to an extreme level. I don't know. But it has something that they're very perceptive and they're willing and able to state what they're figuring out off the top of their lungs. But what's interesting is some of the word usage she gave. But I don't know how good she is at the perception, understanding stuff. Like, I know she and Bitch were the first ones aware that a hero was coming up. But I don't know if that's because she caught something from Bitch and her dogs, like something about them knowing and whooped, or if that's actually from her picking up on the heroes approaching, or using a machine or having her phone ready and knowing that someone's responding. I don't know yet, but I'm excited to find out. So, she's a moment where she said that the reason Taylor wasn't responding isn't because she's hurt, it's because she's shy. And that moment was where I had the most questions about her. Because Taylor doesn't see herself as shy. So she's in a weird, awkward social situation and stuff and doesn't know how to run it. You know, and there's a lot of things that are making her regret being there and all this other stuff. You know, while still being like, yeah, at least I did that, whatever. The thing is, she won't use the word shy to describe herself. And then Tattletale uses the word she's shy to describe Taylor. Now, that might be a simplification from her knowing other stuff. It could be her own interpretation of what's going on there. You know, Taylor's more like in the midst of shell-shocked and a bunch of other things going on than she is legitimately shy. As well, she's someone who reads situations, reads people, comes to her own understanding before engaging. You know, the only reason she engaged Lung at all was because he was going to kill some kids. Otherwise, she'd have stuck to studying and watching and seeing where they were going and whatnot, you know, before doing anything. You know. So, yeah, there's a lot that's going on. And Tattletale and her view on what's going on, I don't know if that's screwing it up, skewing it, or if that's revealing truths that Taylor herself isn't able to perceive. When I don't know. But it's exciting and fun and interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
Also, she has a really
probably
well put together suit.
She does. It's very nice. I will say, probably the most exciting part about this for me is when you're done, making you come back and listen to these first few episodes.
I am so excited.
Holy fuck.
I'm so excited for that.
I mean, I'm also excited. Because there are, because after everything,
yeah,
after we get to the end, I want to do a bonus episode where we go back and listen to the first few episodes and then may record another episode talking about our thought, like your thought process back in the early. We'll talk about how right and how wrong you were about things. Because
oh god, I'm so excited because okay, what if Oni Lee is a time traveler or something? Like, it'll be so fucking funny if I guess like vibration stuff and he like time travels. You know, that would be such bullshit, but it'd be so funny.
I will say, so yeah. The reason why you know that she's not like a scion or whatever is because in this world those don't exist, right? Because all powers come from the same place, they all play by the same rules, and the text states that there are no psychics, and they state a reason for this, and it's largely inaccurate, but it is true that there are no psychics, but the reason for it is very different than what people think it is. And the other thing is, I will say,
right, interesting.
Time travel is not really a thing. Like, there are powers that mess with time to a degree, but I'll say it is exceedingly rare that anything goes backwards in time, and those powers have extreme restrictions on them. Just to keep things a little simple.
Yeah, okay.
As simple as they can.
No theory. Oni Lee is looking forward in time, and that's why he seems like he's ever, because he has plans the perfect route. Anyways, that's enough guessing about that. I'm sure it's something else, but whatever.
That's funny.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Anyways.
That's a funny.
Let's see here.
Anyway.
We got more characters to discuss. No.
We do.
What's his name? Our Armalist, right? Yeah, we have to talk about Armalist.
Right. I almost forgot about Armalist. Right.
That's the one.
This is the part I was looking forward to the most.
Yeah, that guy.
What's your read on this guy?
Okay, so he's very interesting, and there's a few ways he could be, but the thing is with the people who are like that, you're not sure in the moment unless you've gotten a good read on them. Taylor has just been bombarded by all these other people, and then him. She cannot get a good read. She's still shell shocked. So, as she gets out of it during her time talking to him, well, by the time she's, enough of herself to really know, it's past the point she should have made the assessment. So, yeah, that's kind of a problem with people who have psychosis and whatnot because you've already set up an opinion. She did not get to properly analyze him before setting up an opinion. Woof. So, when he gave her the ultimatum of who is getting the credit, he, did state things like, oh, if you take the credit, we'll take you to the school, you'll do this stuff, blah, 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 that's how it's going to have to go. If you don't, then you can walk away and stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. Taylor's normal, mental little cognitivity of, reading what people are saying and having an opinion about it aren't on him during this, if you notice that. They're more on heroes and him as a concept of a hero, not him as a person. So she isn't saying that she's got this thought on him, on that, whatever. There's this, sorry, someone's screaming around over here. That happens sometimes. But anyways, the thing that makes that interesting is she doesn't assess when he's saying that. He says that that threatening sounding thing, about now she could walk away, she can go home, whatever. I don't remember what he said anymore. But the way he said it, you can read it as a threat, and the threat you can read it as is not claiming credit is the only way you walk out of here, meaning that the other option means he'll kill her. That's how you can read what he's saying there. But she is unable to read it that way because her mind is stuck on the perception of what a hero is. So for me, reading that, I'm like, oh, she in danger. She don't know she in danger because she can't read it as if it's a danger, so she's not reacting the way she would if she perceived it as a threat. Instead, she's just being a hero instead of this is a person who is here beside me, who is heavily armed, ready to battle, and already said they could get away with killing me. Because he didn't say she didn't look like a hero. He said everything that gave you the hint, if he just killed her now, took the credit and everything, he would just believe she was some random villain that Lung killed. Villain to villain, and he'd be away scot-free. He said that. She would normally think about that with the way she thinks about people. But she didn't because she was caught up in the concept as a hero. And for all I know, he's a good guy, a really great guy, and everything, But her thoughts were on him. They were on the concept of a hero. So that made that situation extra scary for me when reading it for her, because I was like, oh, she's not thinking the way she would normally. So she's not saying things and planning for it to protect herself from a physical threat. Instead, she's just saying the hero thing. Oh, I have to go to that school thing and stuff and take all the danger of then villains knowing me. Not realizing that this moment could in and itself be a deadly situation for her. Which is strange, because it is set up like one. It really is.
I
I think
what
that
you
either
you
his
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say,
You go ahead.
it's
You go ahead.
it's interesting how you're reading this situation because you're sort of right in the respect that she's not seeing it that way, right? And for people who are coming into this not realizing not really knowing, like understanding what reading through an in universe narrator and really means. I think that a lot of people read this part and just take it all at face value, right? Where this guy just shows up and he's like, matter of factly, like,
Yeah.
these are your two choices, and they don't think about it too much. And I think the reason why it's like
Yeah.
it is set up that way where you could perceive this as like a threat, but the expectation is that you don't, but that things in the future will recontextualize this conversation.
Yeah. For me, I don't know. I grew up around psychos, sociopaths. They hang out with a lot of people. Anytime there was weed involved and stuff, someone was getting killed every single time. That's just how that was. Whoever wasn't looking at a doorway or something, or just sitting on a couch with the back of the neck, but that's whose throat was getting slit and would be, being sold off to the Chinese or something in pieces. So I grew up around that. So that conversation, yeah, he had there the way he was talking rang of those kind of people. However, it's also rang of authority figures who are from like lower 48 who are actually authority figures on a subject. So, woof, I'm like, he could be this way or he could be that way. I don't know enough about where he's from or information about him to make that assessment, but she should be thinking about him as if he's this way when dealing with him, and she's not because she's absorbed in this concept.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. I Again, I'm loving this. This is my favorite thing ever. Um. All right. Any particular scenes that stuck out that we didn't really talk about? Because we kind of talked about like the really early stuff at school. Then we talked about the
Well,
fight, and we talked a little bit about her like at home making the suit. Was there anything else that stuck out that you want to talk
well,
about?
there's a few things we didn't
Like,
go over. I think we got a few things that are worth mentioning. One, when she's making the suit, and the reason the backpack got destroyed and why that mattered is all of this perfectionism that she was building up for that survival of that situation. We should talk about that part of it, but we didn't talk about the fact she had all this built up, all this planning and stuff, which is keeping her from actually performing the thing, holding her back until it would be perfect day. And if she waited till perfect day, she'd have never done the perfect thing. She'd have never defeated the big supervillain on the first day, because she just wouldn't have been there where he was. You know, there's a lot to say about
mhm.
that. So for her abandoning perfection and actually just doing the damn thing, it was very hard for someone who has a psychosis to do it without having a psychotic break. Like triggering them to go do it. Like, that is some self-will there, putting her into it. And again, it's still going from the view that she's psychotic till everything about her makes her feel that way to me. So, that right there, and then her, the suit's not done. It's not perfected yet. It's just good enough. And she has said, fine, screw it. I'll put it together. I'm going, and she didn't have time to like paint it to be like, red, white, and blue or something to be like, look, I'm America. I'm a hero. Don't beat the shit out of me and throw me in prison, please. Or to make it as camouflagey as she wanted or anything. Yeah, just go do the thing, girl. Blue Beetle it. We don't care. Yeah.
Hmm.
So she
I
did.
just it was interesting how you phrased that, where you're like, it's she didn't have a psychotic break, triggering her to go do that. Those were the words that you used.
Yeah.
I just
Like,
found the phrasing interesting.
yeah, because it is, because, like, with everything she went through there to get there, she should have. Like, that was willpower that kept her from just, like, and just going out there and, like, killing the first gang member she found in, like, a psychotic break just to make it so she did a thing. She was able to control herself and go do the thing she wanted to go do, which was to go do the hero stuff in that hero suit and not have it default to one of the other things that's, driving her motivations that she's trying to push back, like, killing those bitches at school. That didn't have time to break into her and cause her to ruin what she was doing. What ruined what she was doing was trying to save people, which was part of her goal. So that's not a psychotic break. That's actually her being very self-controlled and managing it. So love that for her. You go, girl. Yeah,
Okay.
super cool. That moment, we had to talk about how that was. And then again, with the suit, she almost didn't go because it's not perfect yet. It's not built right. She's done all this work to get it perfect, of like have it built. Like the spiders have done all this stuff, everything, all this work to it. But how important it was that she went and did a thing anyway, Fuck yeah. You go, girl. The other scenes that are important are one, when she talks about her runs and like how the city is where she's been running and how she thinks about the areas where she's been running through, which is moreover like a quick description of what they're like, a little bit of what people she encountered. It was really minor. She didn't really give that much shits because it's not really anything but her running, which is what she's there for. That's important to note because when we get to the interlude, her dad has his own thoughts about the places she's been and she's been running through and how that is completely different from the way she sees it. And then when she actually goes out and heals up and she goes to, the Anchorage part of the city. I mean, what is that? Like the way that is, how quickly the transition is and stuff. It's, yeah, it's like if Wasilla and Anchorage were right next to each other and you just, cross the street and you were in one and then another.
Kind of like the Eagle River in Anchorage.
So very interesting. Yeah. Yeah. And again, like her opinion of where she's at in the city and stuff is a lot higher than the reality of it. Like when we see it from her perspective and stuff, it's very much, she's noticing how clean it is and all these other aspects of that, compared to the part she goes. Whereas her dad, when we see his, is still thinking about like what criminals who could be there could actually be doing and stuff. He has a more, his opinion about it is less based off of very young, quick assumptions and more off of like being out in the world and knowing that certain things, no matter where you are, still happen, still occur. There's still these different kinds of people in these different places. So that's just a quick little note that is important for how she thinks about the world. And again, she's not even describing like the color of lawns that she's going by from places, just how clean, that they're clean and, well kept. Versus the other part where everything's, in disarray, broken, and trashy. So yeah, that's a lot of information we're not getting from her because it's not relevant for her. I'm sure if she ever had to mow the lawn in her house, we would know the color of everyone's lawns because she would be thinking about how lawns relate to people's personal relationships with each other, the expectations there and all that. But again, it's not part of her worldview yet. So, yeah. There.
Okay.
I think those are the most important parts we had to cover that we didn't yet. Oh, and the fight. We didn't cover the fight at all.
Oh. Yeah, here's a good point.
Yeah, we sort of just circled around that. I don't remember.
Yeah, we talked around the fight a lot. Because we talked about the lead up to the fight, and we talked about the aftermath of the fight, and we talked about other people's involvement in the fight. What do you think of Taylor's ability to fight with her first crack at it? Would you say she did a lot of things right? Would you say she did a lot of things wrong? Would you say she's probably got a knack for this in the future? Do you think she's gonna be terrible and need a lot of help?
Well, I think it's very interesting. Let me put it this way. She has a lot of talent, but no skill, because again, she lacks any wisdom on the subject. But did a surprisingly good job of applying her intellect, the intelligent things she knows about stuff, effectively. Because she doesn't know anything about crime fighting yet. Just, little stuff about, yeah, heroes are cool. You do this basic shit, and she knows those basics. She doesn't know the realities of it. However,
Yeah, she didn't even
she's able to
research
stay out of sight.
the
She's able
villains
to stay
in her
away
city.
from where stuff was. Right. Like, she just happened to know the one. Like, what the heck, girl? And she just happened to go to a place. I assume maybe researching all of this was on her list of things to do as she got closer. But, she hadn't got to it yet. But, she finally went and did a thing. Good job. Anyways, the actual fight itself. She's a monster. I'm gonna say it that way. She's got a great amount of talent. And she brought the right things, which was very important because she can do that. And by bringing them ahead of her, so where she's going, if she has to go further in, she's got the backup there. The tools she needs are already placed. That was really smart. So, yeah, it worked out great. If she wanted to, she could have killed all of those gang members and left Lung without however many resources, whoever was willing to go join him in killing kids, all being dead. That could have been really quick a thing she could have done. Honestly, she could have killed them all. Instead, she sent things to go harm, harass, and immobilize or disable them, which is really smart, cool. Yeah, that was awesome. And then she focused everything she could in waves, mind. She didn't just shove it all on there and insta-die or insta-lose them at Lung. And what was interesting was she understood it was a fight. Thank you, Lord. And thank you, Jesus. This woman understood she was in a fight when it came to Lung. She didn't treat it like a little bow. It was a fight. She sent bugs up his ass. She did everything she could to try to take this guy down. And again, she has no skill, no training, no anything for being in a real fight. And she still gave it everything she got. Which is great. Awesome. And she tried to stay out of it, not be seen, not do stuff. And of course, eventually didn't work out because she didn't know to what extent some of his stuff was affected. But when she did her best to handle it, But she had sent shit all over his face, into his eyes, everything she could do to try to mitigate his powers. And, she was like, I can poison the hell out of this guy. He ain't gonna die. So, and if he does, who gives a shit? So she didn't think like, who gives a shit? She was like, I can send a bunch of things on him, stab him and stick him and stuff there. I got a thing in case he's, having a, like, but he's gonna just keep amping up. It's what he does. But yeah, she took it as a real fight. If he died, she'd live, like she was willing to go there, yeah. It was great. I love that she took it as a fight. She understood that. And for 1v1ing someone, again, I think the main reason she got as far as she did and did such a great job was because no one knew she was there. She attacked and no one had any precedence or knowledge of being prepared for her at all, so no one was. If Lung shows up against her next time, she's not going to get as far unless she does some serious work on training herself for encounters. But, yeah. Did great at a fight. She didn't cause much damage to the city, but she was not able to mitigate any of it. That's a problem. Again, I don't think any of the gangsters died because what's his name would have said that. So yeah, overall, great job.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, she did better than the Avengers normally do.
Not hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Switch. Yeah. So that's my opinion there. Again, if she were able to get someone who was like a hero or even a really good villain to train her on how to actually work in a fight, she would be a dangerous threat to everybody. I mean, if she wanted to right now, she could probably become an incredibly wealthy assassin right out the gate if she wanted to. You know, she could wait till Lung's out, set up a little thing, meet with him or meet with Oni Lee or whoever she wants at this point, any of those people, and set up a thing to set herself up as a assassin for hire. Easy. You know, she could do that. And then be raking in money, just killing people. You know, doesn't have to do a lot of work. Bug goes in there, a lot of them untraceable. Bam, poison in a drink and whatever when they're sleeping, you know, in their eye drops. And done. You know, she's set for life. She's got millions of dollars after a couple months of doing that. As long as she keeps her head down. Honestly, she could do that. She won't. I know for 100% fact she won't. She hasn't thought about it. She has the concept of a hero as a great thing to achieve to be, so she's not going to do that. But she could. Alas. Yeah, so I think trying to be a hero with her powers, that's going to be rough.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because again, being a hero, you know, it's not just about fighting crime. You know, it's about being a hero, right? You're like an icon, like a symbol. And she is
Yeah.
a walking swarm of bugs, so
Exactly.
not the most heroic thing. In fact, that's something she even comments on.
Yeah.
She's like, my powers of shit. You know, I can't really just like go join the
Yeah.
heroes out the bat. I need to like establish myself, you know.
Like, exactly. And she does. Again, she looks like a villain. Straight up. You know, she does. Her powers are very sinister. They really are. They're great for any sort of like evil thing you want to do.
Yeah, they're
you know, like so
terrifying.
many things. You know, if there's tiny little cameras you can get that are barely visible to the eye, she could set some of those up on some bugs, go bug a house or whatever she wants. You know, she could do stuff like that. Fact is, like, she is a perfect example of someone who the federal government would want to steal and utilize as a black op. You know, not like black ops, you know, like whatever, military forces things, but no, as a black operative where they don't keep a record outside of that one organization and have other ones wipe the records of them when they do encounter them. Like, she seems like someone who's primed for being kidnapped and used that way. Exactly. Like, perfect thing for that. So, getting a name and an identity is kind of important for her to do, because that could happen. And not just from the government. There's a lot of other organizations out there, too, who would be incredibly happy to do the same thing with her. So, yeah, if she doesn't want to be a villain, she's going to have to do a lot of extra work that others don't necessarily have to do.
Okay.
You know. So
based on everything you've seen so far, what do you think the shape of Taylor's story is going to take?
I think it's going to be a rocky one, honestly. My thoughts on this are, it could go a few different ways. One, which I see as the most likely, is she tries to be a hero, and circumstances lead her to, when she says things to support herself as a hero and make her claims, she reaches points where the ones she could claim, she cannot because of deals and stuff she set in motion, you know, or things she agreed to previously. And those sorts of things are going to hinder her ability to do that. And the only place where she's going to find people who want to use her powers and have them with her are going to be criminals. And I think of all the ones that she's encountered, Gru's crew is one she's probably going to have a decent relationship with. And that could either work into her being part of it or her becoming their enemy, like their arch enemy. It's going to be one or the other. And maybe even both, because it could happen where she winds up doing heroic stuff and everything and tries to get them to get in on it and stuff, blah, blah. But most likely, I see her winding up deeply involved with that crew. And, I think she's going to try to be doing good, even if she winds up officially a member of that gang. And it's like, yeah, we're going to go kill only Lee's people, yeehaw. She'd still be trying to be the gold heart of the group. So that's how I see that most likely going for her. I don't see things going too well. Other way I could see it going is she just gets fucked entirely, and the concept of being a hero is wiped away from her. And without that, she starts to enter a spiral until she winds up with a crew or in a crew, which is gonna probably be the one that has crew in the gang. They're the only the people she's really met there and stuff who have done anything for her, which is just, literally save her life. So after she saved theirs, so they're on even footing right now. She might wind up there just because of shit going that way. Let's see here. Another way it could go is she does succeed in getting into hero stuff, right? Like that works. So she's distrusted and mistrusted there. All this stuff. She can't lay claim to things she would want to lay claim to prove that she's done stuff. And that sort of shit will keep happening to her, And then what she winds up doing is working with that one gang, because we know those characters are coming up again. They're too well established for us to do. We know all their names. We know enough about and how to. They're coming back up. So she might wind up working as a good guy with this particular gang of people to work towards making the city better and doing good things while, using illicit contacts to do so. So those are the main ways I can see it going. But I'm really thinking that she's gonna lose access to being a proper hero, at least temporarily, and wind up with them as part of their crew for a while. Now, hopefully she's able to get back from whatever bullshit happens there to becoming a hero proper again, but I don't see her reaching that properly. I just don't. I see things getting in the way for her and making it difficult. So even if she does get in, it's going to be a situation that makes dealing with Emma and everyone look like it was, eating cake. So, woof. That's my thoughts on it so far. And obviously, I think more is going to happen than just that, but that's basic story directioning.
Okay.
Do you want to hear how I would like it to go?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I would like it to go where it is the stupidest possible way this could go, by the way, but I think it would be hilarious and I would love it. If she does go through the being a hero thing, working through all the bullshit and, teaming up with this crew to take out these different villains and stuff, and maybe one of those people breaks off, becomes her arch villain after, something important happens there and stuff, and now that person knows all her secrets and everything, and we get this real big intrigue thing until finally having the big climactic battle and stuff. But I don't think it'll go that way, but it would be really fun if it did. It'd be a fun story, but it's gonna go some other direction. I know it will, but it's gonna be interesting however it goes. But excitement. Also, yeah, I'm just, because let me get more time with bitch on doing cool stuff. That's what I want. Let's go.
Hey, at the very least, I can promise you, we'll see more bits.
I'm a
doing cool
dork.
stuff. Um, no, it's fucking.
Hooray!
I
Bah.
I am having an absolute blast over here. Um, but I can't
Yeah.
say too much without spoiling a whole hell of a lot. So I think
Yeah. Okay. Look, if
that
she winds
that
up
was
becoming like Lung and leading her own set of gangs and stuff, that'd be hilarious. But I don't think it's gonna go that way. But it might.
hmm. So we're
Okay.
so yeah.
Uh.
So do you want to talk about the interlude? Perhaps.
Yeah. Let's talk about the interlude. Um. Golden Naked Man, right? He was golden.
Yes, a gold naked dude floating over the
Yeah.
ocean.
Okay.
What do you
Golden
what do
Naked
you think
dude.
that's about?
Yep. That's cool. I dig it. That works. I do have a potential issue with it. But this just comes from religious standpoints of, several different faiths and it being kind of annoying and this keeps happening. So, with the first hero there and whatnot, my big annoyance is that we have a perfect man who seems to be there, air quotes. I know there's a lot more to him. We can see it like he wasn't talking as nothing, he was just learning stuff as he went. But we have this sort of perfect man character and no mention or anything of how he came to be. And, the mother figure who births the first hero is a very important figure who has, a lot of stuff going on in all these different religions, whether you're Diné or, standard ass Christian or different weird, odd, specific faiths out there. That character is important and a warrior in their own right. So, who gave birth to him, or how he happened, if it wasn't through a natural birth, is a really important and interesting thing, which currently we know nothing about. But maybe later we'll get some speculation or other thing about it. I don't know. I don't imagine it'll be a big part of the story unless he becomes a big part of the story, which no idea. But
Yeah.
if so, it'll probably be in
Well,
a revelatory tone when it does. So that'd be cool.
yeah. Would you say that theoretically, if
Him
he
as
did anything
himself,
really important,
like him.
uh, and theoretically, it was really important where he came from. Do you have any guesses as to what that might look like? Just hypothetically.
Gosh. Okay. If I had to make a guess. Okay. So I don't know enough about the meta of the universe they're dealing with yet to really make some good guesses. So, basic
Let's see
theories
for
it is
a
then.
wild theory.
Basic bitch ass theories. Okay.
Basic theory. Okay.
So, okay. Okay, a wild theory? Uh, okay. No, and I'm not gonna do that. That's too wild. Let's go with just basic theories. Okay, the basic theory might be that different governments and stuff were trying to experiment with some bullshit, and fucked up, and it filmed and created something, some effect that, wound up creating him and the concept of the heroes and the way they work in general. Maybe it'll be something that you can measure, like when it happened from on like iron, because of something that affected the air or something, kind of like how we can tell when nukes went off, and iron is affected by that, and it's like, dated when nukes happened, and so now, all this iron that's out there has been affected by it and can't be used to make tools. So maybe there's something like that happened where humans did something, worked on some experiment and did some bullshit, and that has affected the world forever. And the effect it's had on humans is the superpower system that's in place. So I think that might be one. It's kind of basic, but feels
Okay.
like it's doable. In that case, it's a few things he could be. One, the first manifestation of that really coming to light. Two, he could be something from where that experiment took place. You know, whether he's like a conglomeration and absorption of all the people who were present when it happened, or, you know, a brand new creation on whatever area they were experimenting on, or, you know, a experiment that was there, like, you know, we have this child, throw him into the ringer. Oh, we have this ex-convict that we just stole to go experiment on. We put him in there. We hit the hyperchamber button, and bammo, now we got the superhero. And also, 50 miles around us all are dead or something. You know, those seem like pretty basic bitch-ass theories, where it's
Okay.
super simple, but would work getting job done. But yeah. I don't know enough about the dogmatism and all this other stuff going on, so gotta keep it simple for
I'm
now.
curious because okay, can I get a little teaser as to what your wild theory might be? Just out of curiosity.
Oh, there's a few different wild theories. So
'Cause you said that's too
again, we're dealing
wild.
with
I kind of want
superheroes
to
and
hear it.
stuff, so a lot of different things happen. Okay, so that's too wild. Theory number one of that's too wild.
Okay.
Okay. Um, Mephistopheles is doing some bullshit, and people go to interrupt him. While he's at a nexus between different worlds, including like the elemental plane of water, the people who fight him and stop him from causing his like world-ending bullshit or, you know, human demonizing crap, uh, all wind up breaking the barrier between the different worlds and fusing into one being while sending him into the abyss. But that is why, like, villains happen, because he also been shot into everything. So now all of them are sort of manifesting in people. You know, there you go. That's random bullshit theory that was like, nah, that's too far out here for this story.
Okay. Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
No,
then another one is aliens. You know, just blame aliens, you know?
and that's gonna be classified under like, you know, too wild beyond the scope of the story.
So far, yes. I haven't got anything to associate with heavily spiritual things, dimensional travel, heroics before the concept of a hero, or what do you call it? Extraterrestrial threats or beings. Nothing to suggest those are going to be part of the story in any way, shape, or form. Yet.
Yeah, I suppose this is
No.
this is arc
So, yeah.
one.
So
So
far, that's too far out there.
these theories, yeah, I did kind of like ask you to just spitball some stuff, knowing that there wasn't enough information. So because I think it'll be interesting to come back and
Yeah,
listen
there's
to it
not enough.
again, see how close you are.
Okay,
So
the golden femur of Acererak, the undying immortal, landed upon the earth in, 100 BC. And that was finally reached by a mortal gold miner who hit it, and that sent out a shockwave that made heroes happen, as they're all slowly manifesting Acererak, or whatever the hell his name is, to be reborn.
from D&D,
Yeah.
a Sararak the Archlich.
Yeah, sure. Why not? That one. There you go.
Oh man,
Exactly.
I love that theory. It's secretly
But
a
this
D&D
turns
novel the
out
whole
to
time.
be how we. Yeah, exactly. It's secretly in D&D now. She's just a druid, guys.
It just turns into the D&D
You
like
idiots
cartoon.
thought this was superpowers? Yeah.
You will be a
Tiamat shows
warrior,
up. It says
and
wrecking
you
shop.
and
What?
you a magic user, and you an acrobat. Fucking funny.
Spit.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. So
Lord.
now, so we are in
Woof.
the
There
in
you
the interlude
go.
section, most of it is focused on Danny. So, what are your thoughts on Taylor's father?
Oh, Danny boy. Okay, I
The
think
heights,
he
the
seems to be a
heights are
decent dad who's
calling.
just not present. You
Okay.
know, he seems like he's trying, but like none of his trying is really seen by his daughter. So he has no idea whether or not she actually knows or cares how much work he's putting in or trying to. And he assumes she doesn't. And honestly, her opinions about him and stuff are probably praising him for things other than what he would think he's doing right and dissing him for things that he thinks he's doing, right, that he's not. Um, I think that's probably the case where they're both misjudging each other from different perspectives and each other's views on each other. Are obviously skewed. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he seems like he's trying to be a good dad. He knows he's got issues with it. He still hasn't got over the issues with his wife and stuff. That's still really bothering and affecting him and preventing him from doing what he could as a father, let alone, work stuff, which always gets in the way of everything you try to do ever. So he's
That's true.
trying. And he's aware that he's not perfect, but that he's trying. And he's trying to get to, I say trying a lot with him. Danny is, if I want one word to describe Danny, it's trying. So,
Yeah.
like when
Yeah.
he's there, he's overthinking the situation with his daughter when she's come back home. I mean, hell, he called the cops when she was gone for a little bit, instead of going downstairs and checking out the house, not even looking for like a note or anything and stuff, just whatever, like I think he's so worried, he's so anxious about this, but it's moreover wanting to do things right and not screw everything up, and for his daughter to just be okay, because he hasn't been able to help her. He hasn't been able to succeed on a lot of things he's tried, but he's always been trying, and he's just really looking for that moment where he actually gets to succeed in helping his daughter with something. He's only gotten close. So he's got all these issues and problems because of that, like he didn't get to stop his daughter from being bullied, you know. He doesn't know that Emma's one of the ones bullying his daughter. All he knows is that the bullying started happening and stuff, and Emma, his daughter's best friend, stopped hanging out with her, that connection was severed somehow. So he knows she lost a big resource. He knows he can't fill that void, and he has no way of giving her something that would take that spot. And even if he did have something to try, he has work, he has obligations that he can't ignore to really try to put a plan into effect, you know? So, yeah, there's all of that stuff. And I don't know if they really said his opinion about her powers and stuff. I don't remember anything about that, really.
Mm, that's because he doesn't know she has powers yet. That'll become very, very. She's hiding her
Okay,
powers from
I
her.
wasn't sure if he didn't or did. Okay,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she mentions that
so,
pretty
yeah,
like
okay,
early
fair
on.
enough.
That's why she's doing all of her weaving in the basement and stuff and
It's
keeping
okay.
stuff like in the hidden.
Yeah, I thought it was just that, the whole trying to be a hero thing and stuff was hidden, not that I have a power. Saying there's a lot of people who have powers who, boy, my power is, reading people's eyes and stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna play poker. Fuck it, So I'll be an etymologist. Okay, whatever. So yeah,
Well,
okay,
I
that's good
mean,
to
are
know.
there
That's
a
a
lot of
useful
those
piece of
people?
information. So he has no idea she has powers. Well,
Yeah, that is an interesting
shit.
thought, right? Where
From what
you'd
we've
think,
seen, we've always.
but
Yeah, that's a good point. So, we don't actually know if there's a lot of things there, but we won't ever know because we're from Taylor's perspective. However, we could get a general sense of things. With the general sense we've gotten, we haven't heard anything about people pulling a Colossus. We haven't heard anything about quite a few different things. So, I think you might be right. The news video we saw was about Scion. You know, if heroes or like the superpower things were used in a mundane way, I think they would have put that into the news video there, wouldn't they? That would make sense. That'd be the time to do it because you got the heroes and villains aspect, so this would be the time to put in the neutral aspect. But the neutral aspect is the past, where heroes came from and how they wound up becoming less of like divine deities by that one idiot getting killed or whatever and stuff, and people realizing they're people with powers. You know? So, yeah, we didn't get something of like a Colossus situation, which would have been the perfect one to put in this if this was happening. You probably don't know what I mean by that.
No,
Okay,
I mean, I do
so
based on context.
Colossus, the X. Okay, so yeah, Colossus is an X-Man. I'm just gonna go over for people who don't know what I'm talking about. Colossus is an X-Man. Wow, he is originally from Russia. Do you know why he went to America? He went to America for work. Like, what he was doing is he would superpower himself up and build buildings. That's what he was doing with his super crazy powers and all the strength and everything and the indestructibleness of himself. He would build buildings, and he was very happy doing that. The only problem he had was none of the Americans were happy with him doing that because he could do a whole crew's work, you know? What the hell they gonna? They gotta lose jobs. So they mad at him, and he is very confused about it. And that's what starts his journey to becoming an X-Man. Yay! But yeah,
Yeah.
a Colossus
So, yeah,
situation where we have someone who comes in, takes your job by using the powers. That should have been on the news if it was common. Or at least if it was,
probably.
something outside of the heroic realm. Yeah, that would make sense.
Something to look for.
So
as we go
either
forward.
there aren't a lot of people like that, or if they do exist, they keep a low profile and don't put that stuff into their work in an obvious way. Yeah, that'll be something to keep an eye out for. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye.
Squish,
we'll
squish,
keep
squish, squish, squish,
keep
squish, squish,
a
squish, squish.
finger on that pulse because it might be extremely relevant to things that are going
Yeah.
on. Right.
Because, yeah, they could also just, be like I was saying with, like, the government thing stealing Taylor Wig, the possibility of that happening. That could be something that just happens where they're like, oh, yeah, you got some superhero kid over here. He can, like, see through walls or whatever, steal that bitch, Could be a thing. We don't know yet. Hell, it could be that the people who've gotten these powers were purposeful plants, like, hell, we still have the CIA going in and, rubbing disease-ridden stuff on the bottoms of, like, public restrooms and stuff to get people disease for their own little experiments and money. Like, they still do that shit. So, they're still straight up about it, So why wouldn't they steal kids and to go do all this sort of murder stuff and whatnot? They do all sorts of crap right now. So, again, something to keep an eye out for as we're going through. Yeah, fun.
Yeah.
Squish, 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 squish. Yeah.
I will say
Let's see here.
that arc 1 is like the shortest.
Yeah.
And they kind of only get longer from here. And this episode is pretty long, so I'll say like most in the future arcs we'll spend less time talking about like laying the groundwork for Taylor's mentality and perspective. We'll probably only bring it up if it's to call attention to
Yeah, because we
things.
did that here. We'll just
Or
talk
if
about
something
shifts.
changes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, a few things she's focused on, a few shifts, stuff like that. That's probably going to be our. I know it's not our shortest chapter, but it's probably going to be our longest video, or really close to
No,
it. You know?
no,
Yeah.
it will not.
Oh.
Trust me. Oh
Oh.
boy.
All right. I can't
Rapid
wait till the
lad,
space lizard men
laddie,
show
you have
up,
no idea.
as summoning demons. That's gonna be great. Ah,
Huh. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I'll just say like
Oh
there
boy.
are arcs in
So
the
excited.
future that are like triple the length of this one. So
Nice. All
yeah,
right, guys, it's the
they really
Pusheen
do
Mall
own it now.
shopping trip arc. Let's go. 837 pages.
Yeah, yeah, shit happens, and shit keeps happening. Um, I'll say if you like fast pace,
That
good.
sounds like a great chapter name.
We're not slowing down.
Yes. Yeah, I like
Huh?
fast pace and slow pace, and I like ones that have a good use of ma. So let's go. Yeah. Except for British slow. I don't
Yeah,
like that. Then that's too slow.
I like
Yeah.
Downton Abbey.
Yeah, exactly. You get it.
Yeah, you know, it's like
Blah.
I watched like 400 episodes of the Great British Bake Off, and they never got to the point.
Yeah, dudes, like, come on.
Hmm.
Right? Like, who is best baker in universe of all time? Like, did we get there? Do we have to go back? Do we have to wait till we have time travel and then like get some cavemen up in here and be like, this is the one who figured out you can get yeast from the air. He wins. Fuck it. Is that it? I
Yeah,
don't know. They're taking too long to get there.
I know, right? It's just like people tell me it's like One Piece. Eventually something happens. But like, it's like you got to watch a lot of episodes. I'm not sure if I can get through it, to be honest.
And I already disdain pirates, man. I'm not watching a whole show dedicated to them. But we
Especially
have
if
a
I
cool
have to
cart
watch
here and stuff now. I
like
don't care, but
40
look at the
hours
pretty
before it gets
ladies.
good.
I don't care. Yeah. Left.
Uh, I mean, it's. Who
Yeah,
else
I don't.
would
I don't care.
compare One Piece to the Great British Bake Off? That's the kind of genius you get when you listen to us.
Yeah.
Uh, Deep insights,
Yeah.
deep insights only.
Whoa, that's true. Deep insights into the universe and its inner workings. The deep machinations that big pharma wouldn't want you to know about. Anyways, I wanted to say something other than big pharma, by the way. I want to say big insert random thing like big tissue or big toilet or something, but I just said big pharma anyway. Darn it.
Yeah, well, I think everyone knows that Big Pharma is fucking evil as shit. So
That's true. Squish, 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 squish.
big toilet.
I don't think my hand tracker
What
is working.
toilet
I've been squishing a
manufacturers
thing
don't
this
want
whole
you to
time,
know?
and no one's gonna see my hands going squishing. Well, yeah, toilet manufacturers don't want you to know. That One Piece and the Great British Bake Off are two halves of the same show.
Of course,
Oh,
big toilet will want to cover that up.
oh.
Uh,
They want to
I,
flush it down the
for the
drain.
record, I
And
do not hate Great British Bake Off. I just fall asleep before I get through a single episode.
this is
I do
true.
hate One Piece.
And this is even worse with shows that are meant to be slow. Like the British version of The Office. No. I'll tell you a hint. If you want to live a life, don't watch that. Just don't. Shit.
That sounds like a threat. Motherfucker, you put that show on, I will show up at your house. I will cap your ass. You want to live? You will not watch that show.
Well, damn was.
Oh, fucking funny.
You'll start watching as some like crazy artistic fairy child, and then by the time you get through an episode, you're gonna be the most banal, corporate, frigging like money grubber ever. It's just gonna ruin you. You won't be a person anymore. Oh, something's
Ah,
going weird here. Okay.
yeah, I think we're both a
Woof.
little
All
sleep
right.
deprived. So, was there anything else you wanted to talk
I
about?
think
Was
it might
there
be.
any thoughts, ideas, theories about just stuff in general? Because you kind of touched on like
Uh,
theories for Taylor's story and some stuff about Scion and like but like is there anything about the plot of the of and you also kind of had throughout your theories for the plot of the book a little bit, but if you have any other thoughts, ideas, something like maybe more specific,
yeah.
maybe about certain characters or about the
Well,
city or
currently we're developing the themes of the story with, and the
Mhm,
direction of the plot line. That's sort of what's happening here. Like, there's this really interesting dichotomy occurring between how people are perceived and how people are. And I don't know how much that's going to affect the storyline going forward. I think it's going to be a lot, though, because of the way you're excited. In fact, you were the one who suggested this to me. Um, but yeah. Oh, right. I should mention this about Taylor. Um, she is clearly psychotic or some sort of neurodivergent, and she's masking that. That was a very important way of saying information about her. It's like I feel like she's stuck in that mask, doesn't even know she's doing that or anything. She thinks that her thought processes are normal people thought processes. She does not realize they're unique or different. There you go. That's been said. Woof.
mhm.
Squish, 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 squish. Yes. So let's see here. Direction and stuff. I think things are gonna go, or that is interesting, or whatever is more of bitch, please. Thank you. But what else? Uh, I don't know how they're gonna utilize things. 'Cause there's quite a few ways they can go here. It would be really interesting if they use this first encounter with like Lung and guy whose name I'm always gonna get wrong, the superhero,
I was gonna say,
and Taylor as a way of setting up a final climactic thing. Like if somehow those three wind up always clashing against each other and creating plans and things where they keep having recurring encounters, I would really dig that. That would be really interesting if it sets it up for that, where they're there at the beginning and at the end, they're all there. Or their legacy is, if they can't, like say Lung dies of random butt disease like halfway through the story. Like, will Oni Lee take up his spot and, stand up to take that position and stuff? And what will that lead to? Aga baga, I don't know, but I'm excited. And I think it's going to be a lot of cool stuff going on. I just don't know yet what's going to go on. For all I know, Emma's going to magically develop like the superpowers of kicking everyone's ass and making them all cool friendos again. I have no idea. So I'm excited to see what happens next, and you should be too. Let's go!
oh, I'm very excited. All right.
Yeah, hi.
Well, I have
Alrighty.
had a
I
fucking
think
blast.
that's it for
This
this
was
one,
awesome.
huh?
Yeah, I think so too. I will
Asabai,
say,
this has been so much fun.
I probably had to mute my microphone like a good 10 times. I was laughing way too hard at a couple of
I
things.
gotta say it. But it does, well, yeah, that's fun. Oh, okay. Well, I guess this is where we will bid adieu and go and
I
swiggle
do.
off to our own swagglehoods. All right.
As you
Thank you
like
for joining me,
okay.
friendos. I'm waving. You can't see it probably. True. Worcestershire sauce. It's also a good choice. Anyways, that's y'all, friendos. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye. We'll see you in the next episode. Toodaloo. Tell them what you think of this. Blah, 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 blah. Watch it, read it, whatever. Blah.